Chapter 499, Seeing the White Stone Again. 1. Along with the remaining generals, Jian Chen and the soldiers swiftly walked through the palace into the deepest parts of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. The treasury of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was located within the depths of the palace. Measured at a height of 3 stories, the treasury was built from a metal that was refined 100 times over so that it was incredibly durable. The gates to the treasury had clear indicators of having gone through a battle. There were corpses strewn about everywhere and the entire area was filled with blood. If this was in any ordinary time, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom would have a Heaven Saint Master and 500 of their elite soldiers protecting the treasury. But with the entire palace already seized by the Eastern deity swords and all of the Heaven Saint Masters essentially either dead or captured, there were no experts left. The elite soldiers of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom were killed, and now the Eastern deity swords took their place protecting it. We pay our respects to the Imperial Protector. At Jian Chen's approach, the soldiers guarding the treasury immediately knelt down to the ground and cried out a greeting. No need to be so polite, you all may rise. Jian Chen spoke calmly while looking ahead. Although the treasury was a large building, the doors to it were quite small. 2 men standing shoulder to shoulder would find it quite difficult to enter, and at this moment, the gates were shut tight, having not yet been forced open. Honored Imperial Protector, we went to notify you straight away after we discovered the treasury. However, even after having all our soldiers search the area, we couldn't find the key. An Earth Saint Master reported quietly. You've done well. Jian Chen nodded his head in approval. Walking up to the gates, Jian Chen's palm struck the meter-thick metallic walls. The metal was cold to the touch and vibrated with a heavy resonance. I did not think that this door would be constructed from tungsten alloys. If thick enough, it is able to withstand even the strike of a Heaven Saint Master with no problem. Jian Chen spoke with some surprise. Tungsten alloy was a very bizarre metal and was considered to be one of the sturdiest materials on the continent. It possessed a strange ability to be able to distribute the force applied to it into something manageable. If one wished to shatter tungsten alloys, then one would need to apply a force capable of shattering it in one strike. Tungsten alloys could not be destroyed piece by piece, so the defensive ability of the alloy was highly sought. If one wanted to break open the tungsten alloy, one needed a tremendous amount of strength. If the thickness of the tungsten alloy reached 50 kilograms, it would be able to withstand the strike of a first-cycle Heaven Saint Master. With 250 kilograms, it would be able to withstand a third-cycle Heaven Saint Master. If it was over 500 kilograms, even a 6th-cycle Heaven Saint Master would find it difficult to destroy. The durability and the scarcity of the tungsten alloy made it an extremely precious and expensive item. Worth almost its weight in currency, if there was a deposit of 50 kilograms worth of tungsten alloy, it would be worth 500 kilograms of purple coins. Despite the price being 10 times the weight, not every city used this as a standard. It appears that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is quite prosperous if they are able to build the doors to their treasury out of tungsten alloy. This large chunk should be around 250 kilograms at the very least. If I want to break it, I would need to exert myself by a decent amount. Qin Wuming muttered. With that, Qin Wuming walked up to the tungsten alloy door. Imperial Protector, please allow me to try and destroy this gate. Jian Chen nodded his head before taking a few steps back to allow Qin Wuming. Not only was Qin Wuming the Vice-General of the Eastern Deity Swords, he was also a Heaven Saint Master who reached the 3rd cycle and possessed several battle skills. As long as the tungsten alloy door was less than 250 kilograms in weight, he would be able to break it. Qin Wuming made every nearby soldier move farther away before bringing the large amount of Saint Force in his hand up, to strike at the small door. Bang! A loud explosion rocked the entire palace as Qin Wuming's hand pressed against the tungsten alloy door. The entire treasury seemed to have begun to shake, and if not for the fact that the entire building was made of reinforced steel, the treasury would have came crashing down. Taking his palm off, Qin Wuming and the others could see that the tungsten alloy door was still standing nice and tall in front of them. It hadn't been broken, and Qin Wuming's palm didn't even leave a trace of it on the alloy. Seeing that his own palm was useless, Qin Wuming let out an icy grunt before taking out his saint weapon that blazed with a blue-colored saint force. With all his strength, Qin Wuming struck at the door. Using his saint weapon, Qin Wuming's strike was roughly 2 to 3 times stronger than his palm strike. With his current strike, even a large mountain could be cleaved in half by him. Bang! A fierce explosion could be heard as the whiplash of energy flooded the entire area before dissipating. The ground near the treasury started to fracture and split into crevices. Some of the soldiers of the Eastern deity swords were even forced back several steps. However, even after the tremor subsided and Qin Wuming had finished his strike with his saint weapon, the door had not been broken. "Father, the door must be beyond 250 kilograms in weight. It could possibly be beyond 500 kilograms. We should go call for some of the others to help us break down this door," Qin Wujian mentioned. Qin Wuming put away his saint weapon in resignation. Sighing, he spoke, "I didn't think that this tiny heavenly eagle kingdom would have amassed such a large amount of tungsten alloy. Ah, it is truly surprising. If we really wish to break open this door, we'll need several more people to break it." "No need for that, allow me to try." Jian Chen came up from behind. "I doubt such a small metal door would be able to block my path." Seeing how Qin Wuming was unable to break past the door, Jian Chen decided to not hold back. Bringing forth the origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits, Jian Chen's right hand began to glow with the same azure and violet colors. Qin Wuming retreated without a sound. He knew that Jian Chen's talent was nearly terrifying, but he hadn't ever been able to understand it. This time, he would take this chance to observe it for himself. Jian Chen stood right in front of the tungsten alloy door. Without any superfluous movements, he stabbed directly onto the door with the origin energy of the sword spirits in his right hand. Tzk. A metallic ring could be heard. Despite the tungsten alloy door being incredibly durable, the origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits was able to stab deeply into the door almost as if it was made of tofu. An azure and violet color, how curious. What type of powerful energy is that? Qin Wuming spoke in amazement at the origin energy in Jian Chen's right hand. Qin Wujian, Kafir, and Yiming all stared hard at the origin energy in Jian Chen's right hand as well. Each one continued to guess in curiosity at what the energy was. All three of them were extremely curious. Chapter 500, Seeing the White Stone Again, 2. While tungsten alloy was an extremely durable alloy, the origin energy of the sword spirits was something even the saint weapons of a heaven saint master couldn't defend against. So the origin energy easily stabbed deep into the tungsten alloy. Despite this, Jian Chen could still feel a strong resistance coming from the alloy as it tried to resist the push of the origin energy. What could be made certain was the fact that if Jian Chen were to not use the origin energy, he would have no chance of breaking open the door. Tungsten alloys were incredibly rare on the Tianyuan continent with an almost excessively high price tag. Thus, Jian Chen was nearly unwilling to destroy the tungsten alloy. He instead used his origin energy to cut apart the door frame so the door itself would remain unharmed, yet they would still be able to enter the treasury. Bang! A suppressed explosion could be heard as the door came crashing down to the ground. At that moment, everyone could only stare in shock as they realized that the thickness of the door was about 2/3 of a meter. Heavens, if the tungsten alloy door was this thick, it had to be at least 1,500 kilograms heavy. Kafir was stunned. Such a weight like this was equivalent to roughly 150,000 purple coins. A single door like this was somehow worth 150,000 purple coins. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is truly quite prosperous. Qin Wuming sighed in envy. Jian Chen peeled his origin energy weapon away from the steel-reinforced door frame, leaving behind just the tungsten alloy block. This chunk seemed less like a door and more of a rectangular pillar about 2 meters long, 1 meter wide, and 2/3 of a meter thick. I did not think that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom would send me such a considerable gift after I entered their treasury. Jian Chen chuckled as he looked at the door. Slowly grabbing it, his arms began to bulge from the effort as he brought the tungsten alloy door into the air. With roughly 1,500 kilograms worth of weight, Jian Chen's legs began to sink into the ground a little. What amazing strength! Watching Jian Chen lift the incredibly strong tungsten door, everyone let out a startled cry. Jian Chen's strength was just far too much to believe. Although Jian Chen didn't look sturdy and instead looked frail and weak, the chaotic force had tempered his body so that it had been strengthened many times over. His muscles had grown larger, and he could fight a great Saint Master on equal grounds with just pure strength alone. With his muscles growing stronger, Jian Chen's strength had increased as well. Lifting something of this weight was not an impossible task for him. Jian Chen placed the door back on the ground, causing the entire ground to shake along with the explosive sound of a door smashing into the ground to appear. We all underestimated the prosperity of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. None of us expected them to have such a heavy amount of tungsten alloy. This chunk isn't 1,500 kilograms. I estimate it to be around 2,500 kilograms around actually. Jian Chen had a happy smile on his face. Jian Chen was extremely happy because of this priceless amount of tungsten alloy. Hearing that the expected weight was around 2,500 kilograms, everyone let out a shocked cry. Now that the door to the treasury was open, Jian Chen and the rest could walk into the treasury. There was a total of 3 stories to the treasury of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. The first layer was extremely big with space belts nicely ordered about the entire area with symbols up above them to signify what was inside each space belt. The entire first floor seemed to have, for the most part, army provisions and high-grade armor. The king of the Jesson Kingdom approached one of the nearest space belts and retrieved a single black set of armor from it. With sparkling eyes, he cried out, "This armor is made from tungsten alloy." Just how does the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom have such a large amount of tungsten alloy? Hearing this, Jian Chen walked up to a nearby space belt and took out a suit of armor as well. This suit of armor was surprisingly constructed from tungsten alloy as well. A suit of armor made from tungsten alloy was generally very thin, but it weighed about 5 kilograms and boasted of a defensive strength that was far stronger than a suit of armor crafted from reinforced steel. If a soldier were to wear this suit of armor, it would greatly improve their fighting ability and survivability. Because of the light weight of the tungsten alloy armor, the amount of weight generally pressed up against a soldier was greatly reduced. The king slapped the tungsten alloy armor and sighed, "This armor is quite excellent. Not only is it light, but its defensive might is 10 times stronger than the black armor my black armors wear." Jian Chen let loose a small smile as he listened. "Your Majesty, we might as well give these suit of armor to the black armors to wear. They are the elite squadron of our Jesson Kingdom, so we must do our best to raise their fighting ability to their best." The king couldn't hide the overjoyed look on his face, but when he saw Qin Wuming standing right next to him, he became quite embarrassed. That'd be too much. The invasion of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was all due to the contributions of the Qinhuang Kingdom. These suit of armors should go to them instead. Qin Wuming laughed, "Although tungsten alloy is quite pricey, it isn't considered much by our Qinhuang Kingdom. The 5 elite divisions of our Qinhuang Kingdom don't use tungsten alloy, but the difference isn't too great. Furthermore, we would need 10 million of these suits in order to give to everyone. Aside from that, our Qinhuang Kingdom has armor that is a level higher than tungsten alloy, so we have little use for them. If that's how it is, then I will accept these tungsten alloy armors for my black armors." The king of the Jesson Kingdom didn't argue any longer and took the armor happily. Afterward, Jian Chen had several of the soldiers from the Eastern Deity Swords help collect most of the space belts. In total, there were 300 suits of armor made from tungsten alloy. With each of them weighing about 5 kilograms, this amounted to roughly 1,500 kilograms worth of tungsten alloy. In this trip to the treasury, the amount of tungsten alloy they had received was quite vast. Aside from the suits of armor made from tungsten alloy, there was nothing else on the first floor that caught Jian Chen's eyes. Therefore, Jian Chen led the group to the second floor. The second story mostly consisted of monster cores and currency. They were sorted into several hundred space belts. Jian Chen didn't even bother with any of them. He had the Eastern deity swords collect them into their own space belts. Without stopping, he walked to the third floor. The third floor was quite different from the first two floors. All sorts of treasures were collected here. Oddities and items were stored all around, and while their purpose wasn't clear, what was clear was the fact that they had to be quite expensive. Suddenly, when Jian Chen stepped onto the third floor, Ziying and Qingsua both spoke into Jian Chen's mind. There is a howlight. Howlight. There's one here. Master, quickly take the howlight into your hand. Ziying and Qingsua were both extremely excited and seemed as if they were impatient for something. The sudden voice in his head caused Jian Chen to falter for a moment. The azure and violet sword spirits rarely spoke to Jian Chen, so he hadn't expected to hear them talk right now. Howlight? What is that? Jian Chen thought in confusion. Shortly afterward, a strange sensation could suddenly be felt in Jian Chen's head, causing him to turn toward one of the corners of the treasury. All that could be seen was a single white stone placed on top of a table. There was nothing significant looking to this white stone, making it seem quite ordinary. At first glance, anyone would think this to be no different than any other stone. If it were thrown into a heap of rubble, it wouldn't be noticed at all. Jian Chen's eyes flashed with recognition before quickly walking to the table. His eyes stared hard at the white stone, and memories of what had happened a few years ago in Wake City began to flash in his mind. At that time, he didn't know that the two glows of light in his dantian were the sword spirits, but he had realized the curiosity that was the white stone instead of dismissing it as an ordinary stone because of the strange sensation coming from them when he walked the streets of Wake City. It was because of this curiosity that he had purchased the white stone. Jian Chen never had a second thought for the white stone in his space ring because he simply had no idea just what use the white stone served. As time went on, if it were not for the fact that Jian Chen had come across a second stone and had the sword spirits not mentioned it, Jian Chen would have completely forgotten about the fact that he had bought one. The white stone had been placed on top of a steel table for Jian Chen to pick up with both hands. Straight away, Jian Chen felt the weight of the stone and was shocked. This single fist-sized white stone was approximately 500 kilograms in weight. If not for his strength, it would have been difficult for him to pick up from the table. Ziying, Qingsua. Just what is this white stone? If it excites you too, does that mean it a treasure of some sort? Jian Chen asked the two sword spirits. This question was on his mind ever since the very first time he had bought the white stone. At that time, neither sword spirit was capable of communicating with him, so he had never been able to learn of the oddity or history behind the white stone. Master, this howlite is an incredibly rare material used to refine one of the most indispensable materials used for high-leveled artifacts. As you say, it can be used to construct weapons. Ziying spoke with unbelievable joy. Oh, so it is a material used to create weapons? Jian Chen was disappointed for a moment. If that's it, it isn't too precious. With the people of the Tianyuan continent using saint weapons, there is practically no need for weapons to be made since any type of weapon, no matter what material it is made from, is weak in front of a heaven saint master. It wouldn't even manage to defend against a saint weapon. Master, you underestimate these artifacts. Artifacts are far stronger than you could possibly imagine. Wait until you enter that realm, you will come to understand the strength of a magical weapon. Ziying spoke. That's right, Master. Ziying isn't wrong. Artifacts are extremely amazing. They are far stronger than the saint weapons you use. This time, Qingsua spoke with the same sing-song voice. Is it truly that amazing? Jian Chen had his curiosity piqued. Although he didn't know what an artifact was, he could guess they were another way of classifying a weapon. Chapter 501, Saint Tier Battle Skill, Master. Artifacts are extremely powerful. This howlite is a precious material that can be used to make the azure and violet twin swords. When you manage to make both, you will come to understand the power of artifacts. Ziying spoke. At a thought, a happy feeling spread through Jian Chen's chest. If I can remake the azure and violet twin swords, that would be excellent and would make up for my lack of weapon. With that, Jian Chen stopped talking for a moment before immediately asking, Ziying, Qingsua, just what needs to be done in order to reforge the azure and violet twin swords? Would this howlite be enough to make the weapons extremely strong? Naturally not. Howlite is only a material. In order to make an artifact strong, it requires even more materials and items that require careful selection. However, Master needn't worry about this problem. Qingsua and Ziying will take care of it. Ziying spoke with pride. Then when will the azure and violet twin swords be finished? Jian Chen was somewhat impatient. To him, a sword was an extremely important thing. Ever since his own light wind sword had been destroyed, his heart's longing for a sword had never been quenched. Because of his strength as a Heaven Saint Master, he was afraid that any weapon he used wouldn't be sufficient enough to handle his abuse. Thus, he had never looked for a replacement to use, but now that he knew of a weapon he could create even stronger than a saint weapon, the azure and violet twin swords, he could hardly contain his excitement. Ziying and Qingsua could clearly feel the intense longing for a sword in Jian Chen's words, causing them to hesitate for a moment. Responding, Ziying spoke, Master, forging the azure and violet twin swords is not a very difficult process. It only requires a few individuals that can control fire to help. However, the difficulty lies with the materials themselves and gathering them. The howlite is just one of the materials, but that is far from enough. Then what materials are needed? I will have the Qinhuang kingdom help me straight away. Jian Chen's heart couldn't help but beat wildly. He had been brought into the strange land by Ziying and Qingsua many times before, so his heart knew about the powerful weapon that were the sword spirits. Thus, he was very impatient about being able to use such a powerful weapon. Although Jian Chen had the strength of a Heaven Saint Master, had the origin energy of the sword spirits, and was an uncontested existence among those in the Heaven Saint Master realm, Heaven Saint Masters did not stand at the pinnacle of the Tian Yuan continent. Above them were the saint rulers and the many other paragon existences that lived as hermits. Despite not knowing just how terrifying of an existence the saint rulers were, Jian Chen could make a rough estimate. Elder Xiu back in Longevity Valley had shown him that saint rulers were merely the tip of the iceberg. Even with his usage of the origin energy, he hadn't been able to cause a speck of a threat to Elder Xiu. Jian Chen had already started trouble with the Shi family and the Jie clan, both of whom had saint rulers behind them. After destroying the treasured heirlooms that were the ruler armaments, Jian Chen was sure that the two families would never let him go. In the case the saint rulers were to make a move, Jian Chen would have no way to defend himself. Aside from the Shi family and Jie clan, there was still the Huang family and the most recent sect of Dragon and Tiger. Both parties were not easy to bully, and the Huang family knew that he was in possession of a saint ruler skeleton. Although he had once helped out the Huang family, there was no guarantee that the Huang family would bite the hand that had once helped him in order to acquire the skeleton. After all, saint ruler skeletons were extremely valuable. As for the sect of Dragon and Tiger, they were now another headache to deal with because of the mess that had occurred from the matter with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. The sect of Dragon and Tiger also had hidden hermits that did not fear the Qinhuang Kingdom. Although Jian Chen's status as the imperial protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom gave him some protection, there might be some saint rulers that were willing to give face to the Qinhuang Kingdom, but there could possibly be some that didn't. People who would actively chase after Jian Chen. This was an extremely important matter, but Jian Chen didn't truly worry about them yet. Instead, what he was truly worried about was the white tiger cub. Because if he did not hand over the tiger cub, he would have to worry about the Gilligan clan in the Cross Mountains. Thus, while Jian Chen looked to be without troubles, the amount of pressure on him was tremendous. This led to him to not bother with the matters of having a wife or kids. His only concern was to increase his own strength. The problem was after the Heaven Saint Master realm, it was not easy to increase one's strength as before. If Jian Chen were to forego the origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits, he wouldn't be strong at all. Therefore, when Jianshen heard that he could reforge the azure and violet twin swords, his heart began to beat rapidly. Ziying and Qingxua both looked quite troubled. Growing silent for a while, they finally spoke. Master, the materials needed to reforge the azure and violet twin swords have no fixed pattern. Furthermore, these materials will most likely be under a completely different name here on the Tianyuan continent. If we were to look for them on name alone, we would never be able to find them. Each and every material has a different characteristic, but they would still be hard to find. For example, this howlite looks to be nothing different from a regular stone. It is incredibly heavy, but that is it. On the Tianyuan continent, there will most likely be many other types of stone that share a similarity to the howlite. These minute differences may vary, and practically no one will be able to differentiate between them all. So having other people help look for them would be of no use either. Ziying spoke helplessly. Then does that mean that in order to find the materials needed to reforge the azure and violet twin swords, only you two will be able to? Jianshen asked. Yes, Master. Aside from Qingxua and I estimate that no one else would be able to tell these are materials for forging a weapon. Ziying replied. Hearing this, Jianshen began to grow disappointed. Originally he had thought he could immediately obtain an artifact sword and resolve his vexed state of having no weapon. However, he didn't think that there would be this problem, leaving him empty-hearted. Growing silent for a while longer, Jianshen gradually began to regain his usual mood. Although he couldn't immediately reforge the azure and violet twin swords, he at least had a new hope for making a weapon. Furthermore, this new weapon would be the incredibly powerful azure and violet sword. After calming himself, Jianshen continued to ask, Ziying, Qingxua, just how many materials are needed to reforge the azure and violet twin swords? Master, our blades were created using the highest grade materials in the past. There were nearly 1,000 different things, each one of them being unmatched in their rarity and usage. But Master doesn't need that type of blade, and neither does Master require an usual type of flame to forge it. All Master needs is another type of blade that only requires 16 materials. Terminating his talk with the sword spirits, Jianshen immediately snapped back to his senses. At the same time, he realized the group, who had been walking behind him, had suddenly appeared right next to him. Jianshen, just what about that stone is enough to make you get lost in thought? What is that stone even? Could it be it has some sort of strange use? Ming Dong's voice could be heard asking Jianshen. Hearing this, Jianshen muttered, this stone is a material used to forge weapons. I've been in need of something like this. Ming Dong's face grew extremely solemn when he heard Jianshen speak. Jianshen having his saint weapon destroyed was not an unknown fact to Ming Dong, since Jianshen had explained his experience to him. Forge a weapon? Imperial Protector, what use do you have for that? Do you plan to use that material to forge yourself a weapon? Any regular weapon pales in comparison to a saint weapon in terms of durability and strength. In a battle between Heaven's Saint Masters, an ordinary weapon would be as good as a chicken rib, utterly unfavorable. Qin Wujian asked curiously. Jianshen smiled, but he did not offer an explanation. Taking the howlite into his space ring, he spoke, everyone should take a stroll now. Since everything here belongs to us, take whatever you wish. Afterward, everyone separated everywhere, pleased to see if there would be anyone they would want. As for the gold or silver pearls or other precious commodities, none of them felt inclined to take them, since none of them were exactly lacking in money. The third level of the treasury was quite big. Jianshen, by himself, strolled here and there to see if there would be anything else that would be of value to him. After they were done, the rest of the items would be given to the men below to manage or perhaps sell. In the case that he missed something particularly precious, it would be a great loss if it were to be accidentally sold. Just as Jianshen walked past a dusty table, his body suddenly came to a stop as he noticed a stone slab on the table. The stone slab was a square in shape, about 1 meter long and 1 inch thick. It looked rather ordinary at first glance, but on the slab, there were several patterns etched in it. The patterns were illegible because of the layer of dust. Picking up the stone slab from the table, Jian Chen blew off the dust to reveal the patterns etched underneath. However, the pattern was incomplete on the slab. All that could be seen was a single palm holding a blade as it chopped down. The blade was not completely visible because of the small dimensions of the slab, so the blade point could not be seen. When Jian Chen's eyes registered the pattern, his heart immediately felt great shock run through it. An extremely mysterious feeling came bursting forth into his mind, forcing Jian Chen to stare at the picture closely. Although the pattern wasn't complete and only had a picture of a palm and a blade, Jian Chen felt the power of the world through this picture. In this downward chop, Jian Chen felt that it contained the world within it. This is, Jian Chen's eyes grew wide with utter shock and disbelief. This pattern was no stranger to him. Back in the Holy Lands of Mercenary City, he had come across a Saint tier battle skill, a tier above a Heaven tier battle skill. This seemingly unspecial slab was actually the strongest battle skill on the Tian Yuan continent, a Saint tier battle skill. Chapter 502, Roping in Ming Dong. Jian Chen's breathing turned coarse. A Saint tier battle skill was definitely the most valuable battle skill on the Tian Yuan continent. This was something that even a saint ruler would drool at the mouth for. Even among the saint rulers, very few had a Saint tier battle skill. What Jian Chen didn't expect was to find in the treasury of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom an actual Saint tier battle skill. This to him was a gargantuous shock, but the only problem was that this one was broken. It was not a full and clear depiction. Despite this, Jian Chen was still incomparably joyful. Even a broken Saint tier battle skill was priceless, since the profoundness hidden within the patterns still contained a great mystery. Back when Jian Chen had been in the Holy Lands of Mercenary City, he had been able to absorb some of the fragments of the mysteries of the world. From that, he was able to feel a resonance with the slab in front of him. It was from this resonance that he had been able to tell that this was a broken fragment of a Saint tier battle skill. Clutching at the stone slab, Jian Chen couldn't help but feel his body shake. This discovery was far too great. Although he was unable to practice any Saint tier battle skills, the stone slab would still be able to help him comprehend the mysteries of the world. To Jian Chen, this stone slab would be the bridge that would take him to the world of saint rulers. The excitement in his heart persisted for a while before Jian Chen was finally able to calm down. Gingerly putting the stone slab into his space ring, he pretended as if nothing had happened and continued to stroll around. In about the time it took to make a cup of tea, everyone had already searched through the entirety of the treasury, but no one had discovered anything too out of the ordinary. Aside from the Howlite and Saint tier battle skill, Jian Chen hadn't received anything else. Despite this, Jian Chen only felt joy and uncontested bliss that couldn't be seen on his face. He knew all too clearly that a Saint tier battle skill was definitely no small matter. If the several imperial advisors were to know that he had it, they would definitely try to remove it from him. Have everything here collected and taken away. Jian Chen commanded to the soldiers outside. Yes. The few soldiers immediately headed into the third story with their space rings and began to collect everything in sight into them. While the soldiers busied themselves inside, Jian Chen and the rest gathered around. Has anyone found anything of interest? Jian Chen asked. While the items in here are quite extraordinary, nothing really caught my eye and was worth me taking. Qin Wuming shook his head. That's right, the decorations I put around back home would be better than the items in here by several amounts. Qin Wujin spoke. As a heaven saint master and general of the Eastern deity swords, money and items like this weren't worth much in their eyes. Ming Dong's space ring had several items of considerable monetary cost. With a chuckle, he spoke, I'm not as rich as you all, so I've put some stuff in my ring for now. If I am ever short on money, I will sell them. Hearing this, Jian Chen smiled. Ming Dong, you are still afraid of being short on money despite your strength? If you ever lack money, go and kill several class 5 magical beasts and sell the cores whenever. Rolling his eyes at Jian Chen, Ming Dong's mouth twitched. Do you really think a class 5 magical beast is something an Earth Saint Master could easily kill? Just going into the forest to find one would take forever. If our friend Ming Dong would like, then he is always welcome to join our Eastern deity swords. He would at the very least be able to become a general with 100,000 soldiers under him and a salary guaranteed to fit his uses. Would you be interested? Qin Wuming laughed as he spoke to Ming Dong. He had seen through Ming Dong's hidden talent, not even 30 years old and he already a 6th cycle Earth Saint Master. With this talent, he wouldn't even be 50 years old before he made the breakthrough to become a Heaven Saint Master. This was more than enough for people to wish to bring him in. Ming Dong didn't hesitate to shake his head. I'll be fine. I am a person that loves to spend his days traveling. Spending every day within your camps is something I am not suited for. Besides, I have already decided that I will travel with Jian Chen. Wherever he goes, I will go. Qin Ji walked up to Ming Dong and held his shoulder. I knew that brother Ming Dong would decline uncle's invitation. However, Ming Dong, we are brothers through good and bad, and brother Jian Chen is already the imperial protector of our Qinhuang kingdom. We cannot have your own status too far down, so I have a proposal I wish for brother Ming Dong to agree to. What proposal? Say it. However, I can't guarantee that I'll agree to it. Ming Dong spoke unflinching. Qin Ji patted Ming Dong on the shoulder with a laugh. It's nothing major. I just hope that when brother Ming Dong makes the breakthrough to become a Heaven Saint Master, he will take up a position as an imperial advisor for our Qinhuang kingdom. Naturally, we will not limit your movements. Instead, we will provide assistance whenever needed, just like we do with Jian Chen. Ming Dong pondered the proposal for a moment. No restriction on movement and even assistance is provided. It seems to me to have no shortcomings. Seeing Ming Dong be swayed, Qin Ji hurriedly moved to strike while the iron was hot. Of course there are no disadvantages. Our Qinhuang kingdom is one of the 8 great powers with many vassal states nearby and an incomparable amount of power. Even among the 8 great powers, our Qinhuang kingdom ranks among the highest. We have not been in any wars for several hundreds of years, so your time as an imperial advisor with us would be filled with leisure time. There is no need for you to do any work. Ming Dong went silent for a moment. Then, he finally agreed to Qin Ji's request. Fine then, seeing that we are brothers, I'll agree to this. When I become a Heaven Saint Master, I will become an imperial advisor for your Qinhuang kingdom. Then that's that. Qin Ji laughed joyfully. With Ming Dong agreeing to become an imperial advisor, he was far too happy. It meant he would gain an additional hand and power when the time came for the succession for the throne. My dear friend Ming Dong, my Jessan kingdom is also in need of imperial advisors. Might you consider this as well? The king of the Jessan kingdom suddenly spoke up. Ming Dong knew that the king of the Jessan kingdom was Jian Chen's future father-in-law, so he was basically family as well. With that, Ming Dong gave a quick and concise agreement to him as well. The Jessan kingdom is the homelands to my brother. It is naturally my duty to protect the Jessan kingdom to the best of my ability. Your Majesty, please wait for me to make the breakthrough to become a Heaven Saint Master before I become an imperial advisor to the Jessan kingdom. Otherwise, my strength as an Earth Saint Master wouldn't be enough to uphold the prestige of being an imperial advisor. Ha ha ha, no problem, there is no problem at all. The king laughed. He had planned long ago to bring Ming Dong into his graces, but because his starting relationship with him wasn't all that familiar, he had been afraid of being declined straight away. He had put it off, day after day, waiting for his sons to become friends with Ming Dong to foster a friendly friendship. Only after that had been accomplished would he send a formal invitation. Chapter 503, Dismantling the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom in the blink of an eye. Ming Dong had become an imperial advisor for both the Qinhuang and Jessan kingdom. Although he wasn't officially one yet, it was just a matter of time before he was. In 3 years, he should be able to make the breakthrough to become a Heaven Saint Master and become one of the strongest individuals on the Tianyuan continent. At the same time, his change in identity would overturn the sky and earth around thanks to the huge change. That was because an imperial advisor for the Qinhuang kingdom was a far greater luxury than being a heaven saint master. Ever since Ming Dong had followed Jian Chen to Mercenary City, he had made the figurative leap over the Dragon's Gate to become a magnificent dragon. If not for that one trip to Mercenary City, Ming Dong would never have been able to become a 6th cycle Earth Saint Master by the age of 30 or receive such treatment. Imperial Protector, all of the items have been placed within our space rings now. One of the soldiers in charge of managing the items made his way to Jian Chen before respectfully handing over several space rings in his hand over to him. Jian Chen took the space rings and then spoke to Qin Wuming and the king of the Jesson kingdom. We will have a share to this. Let us wait for it all to be converted into purple coins before splitting it. There's no need. Qin Wuming laughed. Imperial Protector, the items in here aren't worth any consideration over. Although they add up to a decent sum of money, it isn't something we would even glance at. The Jesson kingdom and your family have more need for it than we do. Then that's that. These items will be taken by our Jesson kingdom. Jian Chen wasn't one to argue. He knew that Qin Wuming truly felt the money was not worth his notice, but the Jesson kingdom and Changyang clan were a different matter altogether. Neither of the two were as wealthy as the Qinhuang kingdom. Several 100,000 purple coins was not a small sum of wealth to them. Furthermore, if the Jesson kingdom and Changyang clan wished to expand, the support of the Qinhuang kingdom wouldn't be enough and they would need money to expand. Afterward, everyone left the treasury. They stood by the giant gates where Jian Chen looked at the many times reinforced steel building. With a slight mumble, he said, "This treasury is quite considerable in price. Why don't we take this as well?" Hearing this, the eyes of the king lit up. He had long since thought of the same idea, but he knew that he wouldn't be able to do it himself. Hearing Jian Chen bring up the topic of wanting to take the treasury building, he struck while the iron was hot. "My dear nephew has an excellent proposal. This treasury is something this king has been looking at. It is made from steel that was reinforced 100 times over and has a thickness of 5 meters. Even a heaven saint master would need to spend a considerable amount of time to break past it. With such a building, this king estimates it weighs about 500,000 kilograms, making it priceless. Even compared to that tungsten alloy door, the cost wouldn't be that major. Yes, with the steel being reinforced so many times, the price becomes rather considerable. Something like this shouldn't remain here, we should take it with us. We should have some soldiers come and cut the treasury apart into smaller pieces before putting it into our space rings for easy transport," Ming Dong suggested. Jian Chen hesitated for a moment before finally nodding his head. "Fine then, we'll have the best artisans in the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom come over and have them cut down the treasury. Remember, offer high prices." Hearing this, one of the quick-witted soldiers spoke up. "Honored Imperial Protector, this soldier will go make the arrangements." Jian Chen looked up at the sky. "It's already getting late, we've worked hard today. Why not take a rest and talk about the next step tomorrow?" Afterward, everyone took up residency in the palace of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom while the soldiers made camp outside. All of the 200 Earth Saint Masters from the Eastern deity swords kept a tight watch around the entire palace, while even farther away, a patrol could be seen every 3 steps and a whistle every 5. The residential palaces were under strict guard with the defenses under heavy lock and key. That evening, the bright circular moon rose high into the night sky. Sprinkling down on the ground with moonlight, the darkness on the earth was scattered while the stars filled the night sky. There were so many stars that it was useless to count as they blinked like children. The night was extremely calm and the moon extremely beautiful. Within the palace of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, it was even more quiet. If one were to stand at the very top, they would be able to see the entire palace and all of the men standing quietly here and there as if they were stone statues. From the moonlight sprinkling down on them, one would be able to barely see the twinkling silver armor they wore. Within the palace, Princess Yu sat by herself at a stone table in a flower garden. Both hands were propped under her chin as her little head was tilted up toward the night sky in a daze. Her face had a stupefied look, making it hard to understand what she was thinking about. "Princess Yu, you're still admiring the moon this late at night? Why haven't you slept yet?" A voice called out from behind as Jianchen somehow arrived right behind the princess with a smile. Tonight, Jianchen swapped out his robes for a black-colored one. Hidden by the shadows of the night, his entire person seemed to blend in with the darkness. If one wasn't careful, they would ignore Jianchen entirely. Jianchen's voice came out of nowhere, causing the dazed princess to let out a cry in surprise, and her body shook violently in fright. Rising up from her stone seat, the princess turned around with some anger and pouted, "You can't move about so silently behind someone's back and scare them like that." Jianchen laughed before cupping his hands together. "I apologize, I've let the princess become frightened." Hearing Jianchen call her by her title, Princess Yuyu's eyebrows furrowed together before complaining slightly, "Changyang Shangtian, do you plan to continue on calling me princess?" Jianchen was taken back for a moment before quickly responding, "Then, I will call you Yuyu from now on." Princess Yuyu seemed pleased at Jianchen's answer, and with a faint smile, her beautiful eyes looked unflinchingly at Jianchen's handsome and stalwart face. "With it being so late, were you not able to sleep either?" Jianchen shook his head slightly before walking to the stone table in front of the princess and spoke, "I'm not accustomed to sleeping much anymore. I have a problem that's causing me some difficulty even after trying to find a solution for half the day. That is why I'm here, to clear my mind." The princess sat back down and stared at Jianchen with some indulgence. "What is causing you so much trouble? If it's convenient, why not speak to me about it? Let me help you think." "It pertains to the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom." Jianchen summarized his thoughts before speaking. "Now that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is pretty much dealt with, all that remains are the terrible shambles of the kingdom. Right now I am thinking about just what needs to be done to these terrible shambles. If the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom loses its ruler and government, the entire kingdom will fall into anarchy. Several of the sects or families with power will most definitely take advantage of this to seize control of the territory, and at that moment, the entire Heavenly Eagle Kingdom would be sent ablaze with the flames of war. Even the innocent would be affected by this." The princess thought for a moment before responding, "Changyang Shangtian, you speak correctly. Now that the Qinhuang Kingdom's army has suppressed the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, the other powers of the kingdom won't dare to make any movements. But the very moment the Qinhuang Kingdom leaves, they will act without fear. There is an extremely huge chance that things will unfurl as you say, but resolving this issue isn't too hard either." "What solution are you proposing?" Jianchen asked. "Did you never think about controlling the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom yourself?" the princess suggested. Jianchen shook his head. "I've thought of that before, but I found it an inappropriate action. Behind the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is the sect of Dragon and Tiger who are still watching. They themselves are strong and they don't fear the Qinhuang Kingdom either. If we were to bring some men to control the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, we don't even need to talk about the innocent civilians of the kingdom, but instead the headache that the sect of Dragon and Tiger would cause with their interference. Another reason is that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is too far away from our Jessen Kingdom. It wouldn't be convenient for a connection to be made. So controlling the kingdom wouldn't be that easy. After all, we are not as strong as the Qinhuang Kingdom. If that's the case, then we may as well disband the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Split up the territory of the kingdom before bestowing it to the more powerful clans and sects on the condition of them swearing an oath of loyalty to the Qinhuang Kingdom and become a vassal. This will simultaneously avoid any internal struggle and ward off any attempt of the sect of Dragon and Tiger seizing control of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom." The Princess Yuyu was far more used to these matters than Jianchen, so she was easily able to find a decent enough plan. Jianchen hummed as he thought about Princess Yuyu's plan. Finally, an excited smile gradually appeared on his face. "This plan isn't bad. Not only would the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom fade away, but it would also be given to the sects and families to control without fear of the sect of Dragon and Tiger seizing the central control. This is killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Not bad at all. It appears our choice to take a stroll tonight was an incredibly wise choice." Hearing Jianchen's praise, the princess revealed a sweet smile on her face. Having been able to help Jianchen, this was an incredibly happy affair to her. "Yuyu, it's getting late. You should sleep first. Tomorrow morning I will begin to implement your plan. I believe that it will be a success. Jian Chen smiled to Yu. The princess replied obediently as she rose from her stone stool and walked toward her own room. Having Jian Chen call her by Yu instead of princess had already changed her. Her heart was overjoyed, and the previous sadness in it was cleared away instantly. Chapter 504, 7 Regions. The next afternoon, Jian Chen sat on the golden throne in the middle of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom's palace. By his two sides were Qin Wuming, Qin Wujian, Kafir, Yiming, and several other heaven saint masters. Down below, 2 rows of soldiers from the Eastern deity swords stood on standby. Each one of them was an Earth Saint Master in strength. At that moment, several imperial advisors from the Qinhuang Kingdom came in with the 7 captive Heaven Saint Masters from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Stopping in the center, the 10 imperial advisors stood in a calm line behind the 7 captives. Not a word was spoken, but each one of the 7 captives felt a tremendous amount of pressure stifle their hearts. Over 20 Heaven Saint Masters were congregated in this palace hall. Despite not a single word being spoken, the quietness of the palace made the atmosphere overwhelmingly oppressing. Although the 7 men from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom were reduced to being prisoners, they were still ultimately Heaven Saint Masters. From their bones, a strong and proud power could be felt leaking out. Each one of them had their heads held high, and it was only when they looked at Jian Chen that a complicated look appeared on their faces. From his talks with Hu Ba from the sect of Dragon and Tiger, Jian Chen's identity had already been revealed for everyone to hear. The Heaven Saint Masters fortunate enough to survive all now understood Jian Chen's status, but it had still been very hard for any one of them to believe that this was true and accept such a fact. Calmly looking at the 7 captives, Jian Chen didn't reveal any domineering aura from his body. He seemed like an ordinary person sitting there, and it was only after a moment that he finally broke the silence in the palace. Out of the 15 Heaven Saint Masters of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, only you 7 are left. Jian Chen stated. None of the 7 Heaven Saint Masters said anything. The reason why they had surrendered in the first place was because they had no desire to throw away their lives in vain. After all, they had nothing to do with the anger that existed between the Jessen Kingdom and the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Because they were dragged into this, they were all afraid of saying something that may cause Jian Chen to grow angry and lose their life. The imperial protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom far surpassed whatever entity they could safely anger. He was like a gigantic mountain that they wouldn't even be able to blow wind on. It was only because of the support of the sect of Dragon and Tiger that they had been brave enough to fight the Qinhuang Kingdom. With the sect of Dragon and Tiger gone, there was absolutely no way that they would fight against the Qinhuang Kingdom now. All that would remain to them on that path was death. Seeing that no one was talking, Jian Chen continued to speak. Does everyone know why this one called you all here today? Honored Imperial Protector, please explain. One of the individuals respectfully cupped his hands together with an expression that revealed no dissatisfaction. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is currently occupied by us. I will speak the truth to you, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom will not survive. The name needs to disappear from the Tian Yuan continent. To prevent the sect of Dragon and Tiger from taking control, we will dismantle the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. With this, Jian Chen stopped speaking for a second and awaited the responses from the 7. Sure enough, each one of the 7 Heaven Saint Masters blanched. Looking at each other, expressions of worry overcame their face, but no one dared to say anything. You 7, you each must belong to a different faction, I assume. Jian Chen spoke. The 7 hesitated for a while before one of them finally spoke. The Honored Imperial Protector speaks correctly. We 7 all belong to a different sect or clan. Now then, have the 7 of you decided what you will do in the future? Will you pick death? Or will you continue to live? Jian Chen asked. We hope that the Honored Imperial Protector will point to us the path of life. One of the individuals spoke. To bow and scrape their knees for a youth in his 20s was rather embarrassing, but when under a roof, one couldn't help but bow their head. Then, I will tell you my plan. I hope that everyone will find it fitting. With that, Jianshan took out a map from his space ring and gave it to the 7. Now, I will split up the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom into 7 regions for you 7 to control. Each person will be responsible for their own region, and from here on out, there will be no such thing as the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. There will only be the regions that you 7 will have jurisdiction over. Hearing this, the 7 of them had looks of disbelief on their faces. Some were pleasantly surprised, some were confused, and some were doubtful. They all knew in their hearts that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom covered a vast amount of territory. If it were to truly be split up into 7 regions for them to control, then they would each find their own power and influence increased several times over. This to them was an incredibly huge surprise. Although they all belonged to clans or sects that could be considered to be the strongest of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, the amount of territory they controlled wasn't exactly large. The fact that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had 15 Heaven Saint Masters, and because of the kingdom's meticulous planning, each family only had enough influence to cover about the size of a mountain, and it was incredibly hard to increase that influence. With Jian Chen's actions, it was as if he had delivered a free meat pie for them to eat and increase their power. However, the 7 individuals were old and experienced. They knew that Jian Chen wouldn't so freely send them such a delicious treat. In an instant, they guessed Jian Chen's plan. "Honored Imperial Protector, do you mean for us to swear our allegiances to you?" one of them asked. Jian Chen laughed. "You are half right. Correct, with such a great benefit, how could I just give this away to you for free, especially when you first tried to be enemies to the Qinhuang Kingdom?" Jian Chen's later half of his speech caused the 7 to blanch once more, but before they could say anything, Jian Chen continued, "I'll not mention what happened in the past for now. I'll say what I plan on doing. My request is rather simple. I wish for you 7 to handle the work for the Qinhuang Kingdom and swear loyalty to the Qinhuang Kingdom to become external members of it. Would you agree to this request?" Although Jian Chen wanted them to swear loyalty to himself, his current strength wasn't enough to make the sect of Dragon and Tiger cower in fear. By tying these 7 to the Qinhuang Kingdom, the sect of Dragon and Tiger wouldn't act so rashly in case their plans backfired on them. Otherwise, he would be afraid of walking by himself and having the person behind the sect of Dragon and Tiger interfere with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom matter. Plus, these 7 swearing loyalty to the Qinhuang Kingdom or to Jian Chen wasn't too different. After all, his status as an imperial protector wasn't just for show. It was only that for the sect of Dragon and Tiger, the might of the Qinhuang Kingdom was far more prominent than an imperial protector at the strength of a Heaven Saint Master. Fine, I agree. From today henceforth, my returning Cloud sect will swear loyalty to the Qinhuang Kingdom and handle its affairs. My Bukashana clan agrees to swear loyalty to the Qinhuang Kingdom. The Hilo clan agrees to swear loyalty to the Qinhuang Kingdom. This time, none of the 7 members hesitated to respond. With a crisp response, their faces couldn't hide their excitement. Although they knew that Jian Chen wished to use this method to control the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, it wasn't too important to them. The more important thing was that they had a robust pillar of support behind them. Furthermore, being connected to the Qinhuang Kingdom was something that many kingdoms wouldn't be able to get even if they tried. Chapter 505, An Injured Qin Wutian. The reactions of the 7 was within Jian Chen's calculations. After all, this was a good chance to curry favor with the Qinhuang Kingdom. Only an idiot would give up this once-in-a-lifetime event. From now on, you 7 are men of the Qinhuang Kingdom. I will leave this affair to you 7. If the sect of Dragon and Tiger come to make trouble, they will be making an enemy of the Qinhuang Kingdom. The Qinhuang Kingdom will not sit idly on the sidelines for this. Jian Chen spoke. Yes. The 7 obeyed. You 7 may leave now. I've already split this kingdom into 7 equal territories for you all. When you get back, prepare to clean up whatever needs to be done. As for what needs to be done, I don't think that it's necessary for me to tell you what to do. Jian Chen smiled. We know what must be done, please rest assured, Imperial Protector. We will not let you down for sure." The 7 vowed. After they had left, Jian Chen looked back to Qin Wuming. "General Qin Wuming, would doing this give the Qin Huang kingdom any future troubles?" Qin Wuming let out a small chuckle as he listened to Jian Chen. "Imperial Protector, you underestimate our Qin Huang kingdom. Although the sect of Dragon and Tiger is quite strong, the saint ruler in their sect is the only one of importance. The rest of their individuals aren't even within the eyes of the Qin Huang kingdom, and with the vastness of our lands, we have many subsidiary kingdoms, which means we have many heaven saint masters within our ranks. As for the saint ruler himself, he won't be too much of a problem unless he truly wishes to go against our 4 imperial protectors with his strength. Otherwise, the saint ruler won't decide to go against the Qin Huang kingdom for such a small matter." Qin Wuming's words let Jian Chen feel at ease. He had at first been worried that the Qin Huang kingdom would be inconvenienced by this matter, but looking at it now, it appeared that he had put too much thought into it. After a satisfactory conclusion was met, Jian Chen felt quite at ease with himself. Standing up from the throne, he spoke, "Everyone, let us split up, but not return back home just yet. Stay for 2 days or so the remaining powers of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom will cower in fear while the 7 do their best to stabilize their territories." After everyone left, the dissolvement of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom made its way out of the Imperial Palace and left everyone that heard the news in shock. Soon, the news made its way to every single corner of the entire kingdom. In an instant, magical beasts capable of sending messages could be seen flying through the air in droves to reach any place the information might not have reached. Combined with this method of sending messages, within a day, practically everyone within the kingdom knew about the changes. After the information was spread, all of the commoners of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had different reactions than those with power. The commoners of the kingdom were all shocked for a good while, but they stabilized after some time and continued on with their lives as if everything was normal. As long as the commoners could continue to survive on the Tianyuan continent, it didn't matter if the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom existed or if the reign passed to someone else. This matter didn't concern them, so they left it at that. Naturally, there were several patriotic groups loyal to the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom that felt indignant at this. They voiced that the kingdom existed if the citizens existed, rather that the kingdom died with its king. They were discontent with how the Qin Huang kingdom had done things, but because these thoughts only belonged to the minority, they stirred no large wave. As for the various powers, they all made the same actions without exception. Each and every single one of them recalled all of their members and prepared themselves for expansion and war to fight and conquer territory. They knew that with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom separated, this was a chance that was rare to come by. If they did not capitalize on this chance and prepare the horses and banners of war, once the other powers stabilized, there would be no chances left. This action was even taken up by the city rulers of several major cities. Some of the stronger cities had even established themselves as king of the mountain with attempts to annex the surrounding weaker cities nearby in hopes of establishing a new kingdom. All in all, after news of the collapse of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was spread, the equilibrium that was maintained in the kingdom was shattered. The entire kingdom was tense with anxiety, and although it had been relatively quiet for now, those with a keen mind and a sharp eye knew that this was only the calm before the storm. Afterward, it didn't take long for news of several factions erupting into war. However, another piece of information made its way around the kingdom, serving as a wake-up call to every single inhabitant within these lands. It also extinguished the ravenous flames of desire in their hearts. The Bukashana clan, the Hilo clan, Blood Moon mercenaries, Worldly sect, Windfall Mountain, Earthfire School, and the Double Mystery sect all declared complete control and authority over the remaining parts of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. At the same time, they declared their adherence and loyalty to the Qin Huang Kingdom. With the surviving 7 Heaven Saint Masters of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom all in their own respective factions, it was no exaggeration to say that these 7 powers were fully deserving of being the 7 strongest existences within the kingdom. With the 7 greatest powers stepping into this power struggle, the other families and clans didn't stand a chance. None of them had a Heaven Saint Master or the rapport of a kingdom as strong as the Qin Huang Kingdom. This meant the 7 powers of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom possessed no chances of being defeated and would leave any opposing family without a single pocket of resistance. This bit of information allowed the originally nervous Heavenly Eagle Kingdom to return to the previous calm from before. Everyone knew that while the kingdom itself had been dissolved, the Qinhuang Kingdom had simply served to replace them as the ruling party, only stronger in terms of control. What could be ascertained was the fact that should the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom ever give rise to another Heaven Saint Master, that one would never be able to challenge the 7 powers due to the Qinhuang Kingdom backing them up. As long as the Qinhuang Kingdom gave shelter, the 7 powers would never lose their position. The 7 territories of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom were already territories that could not be disputed over. When the 7 Heaven Saint Masters returned to their respective families, clans, and sects, they had immediately sprung into action and moved to claim their rightful territories. And with the backing of the Qinhuang Kingdom, the acquisition of the territories had gone by smoothly. All of the lesser clans and sects had immediately pledged allegiance to these 7 powers, and some of them had even become a subsidiary power to them. This had allowed for the 7 powers to completely control the entire Heavenly Eagle Kingdom in 3 short days. Among the 7, the group that profited the most was the Blood Moon Mercenaries. They were able to use their 1 Heaven Saint Master to keep up the front while all of their Earth Saint Masters were among the next strongest within the kingdom. Thus, they were quickly introduced as one of the strongest powers of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, but because they were at the bottom of the group, they were only able to claim a second-class city as their stronghold with a small potential for growth before the war. But now, Jian Chen's order had practically given the Blood Moon Mercenaries the power to grow to become the owners of one of the 7 partitions. The amount of area they controlled had grown 10 times over, giving no small excitement to the leader of the mercenaries. It had been 4 days since the fragmentation of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. In the original palace of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, over 1,000 artisans from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had already dismantled the treasury to a pile of scrap almost. There was no longer a 3rd story, and the materials used to build that 3rd story had been reduced to material that was later absorbed into the space rings of the Eastern deity swords. Jian Chen gave all authority over to the 7 powers to deal with any problems that may arise after the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had been disbanded. This allowed him to a hands-free approach. All he did after that was quarter some soldiers around the area to act as a deterrence. The next few days were spent in leisure. All that was needed was for him to wait for the situation to stabilize before he and the army could return to the Jessen Kingdom. At this moment, Jian Chen and Princess Yu Yu were playing chess in the flower gardens in peace. Ever since Yu Yu had helped Jian Chen with the problem of what to do with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, the relationship between the two had grown far more intimate. Or at least, it was unlike the indifference from before. Just then, Xiao Tian came walking in a hurry to Jian Chen with a serious expression and spoke, "Imperial Protector, something bad has happened. After being sent out to the Sunset Kingdom to capture the 2nd prince, Qin Wutian has come back. He's injured." Startled, Jian Chen ignored his game of chess to look at Xiao Tian. "Just what happened out there?" Qin Wutian came across an attack and suffered serious injuries. The 100 elite soldiers accompanying him faced serious damage as well. Xiao Tian spoke grimly. His face was dark. This was an attack to the power that was the Qinhuang Kingdom. Thinking for a moment, Jian Chen suddenly stood up before asking, "Where is Qin Wutian?" "In the official hall." Bidding goodbye to the princess, Jian Chen hurriedly left the garden to rush to the official hall. Just as Jian Chen arrived at the hall, all of the strongest people from the Qinhuang Kingdom had already congregated there. Each one of them had a dark expression filled with anger. On one of the chairs, a white-faced Qin Wutian sat weakly on it. His entire body was drenched with blood, and his silver armor had several cracks running through it. On his chest was a clear-to-see palm print. Chapter 506. Leaving for the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Seeing the injured state Qin Wutian was in, Jian Chen's eyes flashed with a dangerous light. "Just what in the world happened for you to be in such a state?" he asked with a low voice. "Imperial Protector, we followed your orders to go to the Sunset Kingdom to find the runaway prince." When we finally found and captured the prince, we ran into 4 of the individuals from the sect of Dragon and Tiger on the road back. They injured us and rescued the second prince. Although none of my 100 soldiers were killed, practically everyone was heavily injured. Qin Wutian spoke weakly. How ridiculous is this? The sect of Dragon and Tiger seem to have eaten the guts of the leopard if they are willing to oppose our Qinhuang kingdom. We cannot let matters stand like this. We must ensure that the sect of Dragon and Tiger pays a heavy price in return. We absolutely cannot pardon them. The conduct of their sect is clearly meaning that they do not bother putting our Qinhuang kingdom in their eye. This is a clear provocation of us. Hearing this, several imperial advisors were furious beyond belief. Their hair flew up like the mane of a furious lion. The actions of the sect of Dragon and Tiger had enraged all of them. We will make sure that we repay them in kind. The palm of heaven does not neglect anyone and would strike down anyone with their hand. Qin Wuming was furious as well as he growled. Father speaks correctly. No matter who it was that hurt my elder brother, that hand will definitely move toward them. Qin Wujian spoke dangerously, his eyes glinting with a dangerous killing intent. Qin Wuming looked to Jian Shen, Imperial Protector. Please allow us to go to the sect of Dragon and Tiger. This matter is important to the dignity of our Qinhuang kingdom. We cannot let things stand like this. Yes, Imperial Protector, this matter encroaches upon the dignity of our kingdom. Let alone the trifling sect of Dragon and Tiger, even one of the other 8 great powers would have to face justice if they committed such an act. The men of our Qinhuang kingdom are not some easy target to bully. One of the imperial advisors spoke virtuously. Everyone speaks correctly. This matter has to be responded to in kind. We cannot so easily pardon the sect of Dragon and Tiger for this. Jian Chen's voice paused slightly as he turned to look at Qin Wutian. Qin Wutian, you go and recover your strength first. I will send someone to the imperial city to bring all of the Radiant Saint Masters over. Qi Wutian nodded without a word before allowing himself to be led away by 2 other soldiers to rest. After Qin Wutian had left, Jian Chen's eyes scoured over the others. Let us all discuss our plan on dealing with the sect of Dragon and Tiger. What ideas or plans might everyone have? The sect of Dragon and Tiger is actually willing to make an enemy out of us, for such a small and insignificant prince. It appears that they are so reliant on their backings that they no longer fear the Qinhuang kingdom. Other than that, the second prince has some sort of particular status that is beyond our estimations of him being a simple prince. Chao Kachin speculated. Right. That line of thinking is not different from this old man's own. However, I believe that the sect of Dragon and Tiger isn't actively working to have us as their enemy. They are working on the second prince's behalf. Otherwise, the 100 soldiers wouldn't have just been heavily injured. With 4 Heaven Saint Masters, killing them all wouldn't have been difficult at all. Another imperial advisor gave his input. No matter what goal they have, we should still pay them a visit to regain the face we have lost to them, and ensure no other faction undermines our Qinhuang kingdom. Jian Shen hummed for a moment. How about this? We wait until Qin Wutian's injuries have fully healed before we set out and see just what attitude their sect has toward us. Yes, that'll do. If need be, we can also have the other imperial protectors come spearhead this. Qin Wutian spoke. After that, everyone split up. Simultaneously, all of the Radiant Saint Masters within the imperial city of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom were gathered to heal Qin Wutian's wounds. Radiant Saint Masters were extremely precious within the Tian Yuan continent, meaning that they were sparse in numbers. Within such a large city like this one, there was roughly a dozen of them, and they were not particularly strong. The strongest was only at the 4th class, so with the scope of Qin Wutian's injuries, it took 2 whole days for him to completely recover. After he had left the halls, Jian Shen immediately walked toward the resting room where the king of the Jessen kingdom was. Within, the Heaven Saint Masters Kafir and Yi Ming were both inside. The 4 sat by the table for a moment before Jian Shen spoke. There is a clash between us and the sect of Dragon and Tiger. We are on the verge of walking toward their sect. Your Majesty, you and your army will return to the Jessen kingdom tomorrow. Changyang Shangtian. Allow Yi Ming and I to accompany you to where the sect of Dragon and Tiger is. Although our strength pales in comparison to the imperial advisors of the Qinhuang kingdom, we are still of help. Kafir spoke. That cannot do, headmaster. You and Senior Yi Ming will both have to return with the king. The 10 imperial advisors and the 3 generals from the Qinhuang kingdom will go with me to exact justice on the sect of Dragon and Tiger. There cannot be an individual not at the Heaven Saint Master rank within our list. Jianshen didn't hesitate to shoot down Kafir's proposal. Although it would be difficult for the army of the Qinhuang kingdom to come across danger, precautions had to be made, and Jianshen had planned on having Ming Dong and the others to be sent back with the army since they offered the best security. Very well then. We will take charge of the well-being of the army then. Kafir understood Jianshen's worries without another word to be said about the matter. The king noticed the grim expression on Jianshen's face, guessing that the sect of Dragon and Tiger had done something particularly repugnant. My dear nephew, this matter with the sect of Dragon and Tiger, how serious is it? Your Majesty, please rest assured. The sect of Dragon and Tiger is quite strong, but they cannot be compared to the Qinhuang kingdom. This time they have offended the Qinhuang kingdom's honor. This is something the Qinhuang kingdom won't idly stand by for. If need be, I believe the saint ruler of the Qinhuang kingdom will get involved as well. Jianshen spoke without worry. With the origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits, Jianshen didn't fear any heaven saint master. All he truly worried about was the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Upon hearing the words saint ruler, Kafir and Yi Jing both let out a startled gasp. A layer of strength that high was something that was beyond their comprehension. Although a saint ruler was only one realm away from them, the distance between the 2 realms could never be made up, like a fly going against an elephant. The Tian Yuan continent had actually an ancient saying, under a saint ruler, all are ants. This is already something we cannot get involved in. Yi Ming sighed. Ah. Kafir sighed, to think those years ago, the very first headmaster of Kargath Academy was a saint ruler. It is unfortunate he was a free wanderer who loved to travel. I have no idea where he has gone, and it has already been hundreds of years since we last heard from him. If the headmaster were to continue watching over the Jessen kingdom, then our kingdom would have soared a long time ago. On the second morning, the army stationed in the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had prepared themselves to leave. 1 million of the soldiers had already gathered outside of the city in a clearing. All they needed was the order and they would set out immediately. Jianshen, you must be careful. Ming Dong regarded Jianshen. He knew that Jianshen would be going with a group of people to deal with the sect of Dragon and Tiger, but he was especially worried for him. Jianshen chuckled, why are you so grim? It is not like I won't return, do not forget I represent the Qinhuang kingdom, the sect of Dragon and Tiger will not dare to act against me. At this time, Yu took off one of the accessories she wore. Hesitating for a moment, she then personally handed it over to Jianshen before speaking with a whisper, Changyang Shangtian. This is the longevity lock my mother gave to me. It can bring peace to a person, and now, I give it to you in hopes that you will be protected. Yu Yu's face had gone red, but she was still able to wrap the longevity lock around Jianshen's neck. Jianshen gave an embarrassed smile as he tucked the longevity lock on his neck behind his clothes. Feeling the warmth radiate from within the object, Jianshen's heart felt at peace. This longevity lock, I will treasure it for sure. Jianshen smiled gently to the princess as he pledged. This was the very first time he had been given something by a woman, and it was something to be worn very close as well. Xianger, finish your matter with the sect of Dragon and Tiger and quickly come back. The restoration of the Changyang clan is nearly complete. You are an important figure to our clan. Without you, the Changyang clan will be unable to continue with the ceremonies. Changyang Ba spoke. I know, father. When my business with the sect of Dragon and Tiger is done, I will return. Jianshen replied. After bidding farewell to everyone, the Jessen kingdom and the Qinhuang kingdom's army departed. Aside from Jian Qin, the generals, and the imperial advisors of the Qin Huang Kingdom, all of the others followed the army of the Qin Huang Kingdom back to the Jessen Kingdom. All that was left were 100 soldiers who would protect the treasury as the artisans continued to dismantle it. Jian Qin watched the army leave before returning back to the imperial palace. However, the overly large palace was now empty without a single person to be seen, giving off the sense of abandonment. Only the sounds of the tempered steel of the treasury could be heard being stripped from within, giving a small bit of life to the palace. On the next day, Qin Wutian's injuries were fully recovered by the Radiant Saint Masters. Not willing to stay much longer, the group immediately set out for the sect of Dragon and Tiger. The sect of Dragon and Tiger was situated on top of a large mountain relatively close to the Sunset Kingdom, but it was not a place where any country could define it as their own territory. The surrounding area wasn't under the jurisdiction of any kingdom and belonged solely to the sect of Dragon and Tiger. The sect of Dragon and Tiger had existed for 1,000 years at the very least, so their sect being located here was not a secret at all. Many people knew of this sect's existence, but only a small amount of individuals knew that the sect of Dragon and Tiger had a saint ruler as their strongest force of power. Although the sect of Dragon and Tiger had existed for many years, they were very strict in their standards for accepting disciples. Thus, they did not have many of them, not even 10,000 of them. However, among these numbers, each and every single one of them were gifted individuals who would spend years under the tutelage of a saint ruler. Because of that, the sect of Dragon and Tiger would produce one strong individual after another, leading to the sect's continuous rise in power instead of it weakening. Chapter 507, Might of a Saint Ruler. 1. There was a total of 14 people with Jian Qin as they traveled day in and night out. Finally, they arrived at the giant mountain where the sect of Dragon and Tiger was and descended down onto it. The leaders of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, come on out quickly now. After setting down, the general of the Eastern deity swords, Qin Wuming immediately boomed. His voice traveled like the rumbling sounds of thunder throughout the mountains, echoing loudly through the world. Perhaps knowing that the Qin Huang Kingdom would come to start trouble, the sect of Dragon and Tiger had already made their preparations. As soon as Qin Wuming's voice boomed out, a dozen individuals could be seen flying forth before stopping 20 meters away from those from the Qin Huang Kingdom. There was a total of 16 people from the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Aside from the prior 10 people who had been in the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, there was still another 6 men that were new. From those 6, there was a middle-aged couple, 2 middle-aged men, and another 2 elders who looked to be in their 70s. You all must be men from the Qin Huang Kingdom. A purple-robed elder cupped his hands as he spoke to them with an expressionless face. Correct. We are from the Qin Huang Kingdom. Sect of Dragon and Tiger, not only did several of your members take away a criminal we captured, but you even injured my son. What is the meaning of this? Could it be that you wish for an open war to take place between you and the Qin Huang Kingdom? Qin Wutian glared dangerously at the group of people from the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Sect of Dragon and Tiger, you must offer us compensation for this affair. Otherwise, our Qin Huang Kingdom and your sect will cross blades instead. Qin Wujian spoke in a low voice. Hearing the 2 men speak, the purple-robed elder gave a faint smile. If you 2 could please calm down. This one is the sect master of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, Chris. Pertaining to the event that happened several days ago, I know of it, but it was nothing more than a misunderstanding. What kind of bullshit understanding is it? Sect of Dragon and Tiger, do not think you can shirk your responsibilities. Our men have been injured by your sect. Speak then, how should this matter be absolved? Qin Wujian spoke dangerously. Despite being in front of the mountain gates to the sect of Dragon and Tiger, he was not in the slightest bit afraid of them since he had the forces of the Qin Huang Kingdom ready to support him from behind. Qin Wutian stepped forward with a sinister glare directed toward the sect of Dragon and Tiger. There is still the second prince of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. This man is someone our imperial protector wishes to capture. Yet, your men still dared to steal him away. This is simply a clear example of not willing to work with our Qinhuang kingdom. The sect master of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, Chris, did not grow angry. Instead, there was still a faint smile on his face. Our sect truly did offend your Qinhuang kingdom several days ago, therefore I, Chris, wish to apologize. However, this second prince has a special identity since his mother is a member of our sect of Dragon and Tiger. So the second prince is considered to be a member of our sect and not an outsider. As such, we naturally cannot allow your Qinhuang kingdom to take him away. Chris spoke with a gentle voice, but the meaning within his words was loud and clear. As long as he or she was a member of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, the Qinhuang kingdom would have no right to take him or her away. The second prince of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom included. When the men from the Qinhuang kingdom heard the implied meaning of what Chris had said, they all took on a rather hard look on their faces. Sect Master Chris, what do you mean by your words? This time, it was Xiao Tian who spoke with unbridled anger in his voice. This one doesn't mean anything more. It is only that the second prince is of our sect. Our sect of Dragon and Tiger will naturally protect him. This matter, I hope everyone will not be too forceful on. Although our sect of Dragon and Tiger isn't of the same level as your Qinhuang kingdom, we are not that easy to bully either. This one offers an apologies for the injuries inflicted several days ago. Seeing that your highness seems to have been fully healed, his injuries must not have been too grievous, meaning that it was not a big matter either. Chris spoke. Although his words were kind-sounding, he did not place any of the Qinhuang kingdom in his eye. He only spoke several words of apologies that seemed to try and even out the situation where Qin Wutian had been injured. Your sect of Dragon and Tiger dreams quite grandiosely. How could the injuries of my brother be so trifling that it could be placated with words? Qin Wutian spoke angrily. Then what might your highness propose we should do? Chris asked Qin Wutian. Qin Wutian held up 2 fingers, 2 conditions. First, you will hand over the second prince. Second, whomever injured my brother, we want his arm cut off. Hearing this, the sect master Chris had a flash of coldness go through his eyes. The previously warm expression in his face had transformed into a sinister one as he suddenly spoke, absolutely not. Chris was resolute on his decision and held no leeway for discussion. Jian Chen snorted as he strode forth. Unyielding, he spoke, then this means to say that there is no way we can compromise over this. Since it is like so, allow us to give our masterstroke here. Men of the Qinhuang kingdom, your bullying ways are too much. You truly do not give our sect of Dragon and Tiger any options. The middle-aged man next to Chris spoke angrily. What bullying? It was you that first gave us trouble. If you did not provoke us, then we would have eaten our fill and would have no quarrel to give with you. Qing Xiaofan retorted. There is nothing more that needs to be said about this. Then please allow our sect of Dragon and Tiger to see the masterstroke of the Qinhuang kingdom. The other middle-aged man growled before drawing out his saint weapon to charge at one of the imperial advisors. Following the actions of the middle-aged men, the other individual of the sect of Dragon and Tiger immediately sprung into action as well. Both sides joined the fray, and in some time, practically 30 Heaven Saint Masters were fighting right in front of the gates to the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Huge waves of energy continued to burst wave after wave from both sides and destroy the surrounding area in the blink of an eye. The battle of the 30 Heaven Saint Masters was so strong that several of the surrounding giant trees were reduced to splinters and the ground was littered with craters. As soon as the battle first started, a transparent barrier wordlessly appeared over the gates to the sect of Dragon and Tiger. It enveloped the entirety of the sect inside and prevented it from being targeted. This barrier seemed weak, but with the battle residue of 30 Heaven Saint Masters flying about, the barrier hadn't even wavered a bit. Inside the sect, several thousand disciples had been alarmed by the battle taking place outside. Standing one by one on the higher points of the place, they stared at the faraway but spectacular battle. With the barrier protecting them, they weren't in the least bit afraid of being hit by a shockwave from the battle. Fighting up in the sky, Jian Chen himself fought against 3 men. Fighting him was the sect master of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, Chris, the vice sect master, Hu Ba, and a 70-year-old man. Each one of them were extremely strong. Hu Ba and the elder were both at the 5th cycle Heaven Saint Master strength, and Chris was a 6th cycle Heaven Saint Master. He had already reached the peak of the Heaven Saint Masters and thus had a battle strength that was astounding. With him fighting against 3 people, Jian Chen had decided to take it seriously. From the get-go, he had used the origin energy of the sword spirits, which was the thing he relied on the most. These 3 had taken the initiative to attack Jian Chen. Hu Ba had clearly told the others of Jian Chen's identity, warning both Chris and the other elder of the dangers of the origin energy. For that reason, they didn't dare to fight Jian Chen directly. Instead, they had 2 people distract him while the third would find an opportunity to strike at Jian Chen from behind. Chapter 508, Might of a Saint Ruler, 2. The sky flashed with a violet light as Jian Chen maneuvered the azure and violet rays of light around his body. Because Jian Chen was moving far too fast, the origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits turned into a curtain of light that covered his body. Although Jian Chen had lost his saint force, which resulted in him becoming several times slower than before, his muscles had been reinforced by the 3 wisps of chaotic force, strengthening his body. Even without the saint force supporting him, the power of his body had already boosted his speed to a considerable level. Despite Chris, Hu Ba, and the third trying to defeat Jian Chen, they knew that they could not even touch the strange energy that Jian Chen held in his hand. Their saint weapons never dared to cross blades, so the 3 of them felt that they had an arm and a leg tied behind their backs. They couldn't fight to their best ability, and felt extremely sullen because of that. But what really made them want to spit blood out was that no matter where they slashed at Jian Chen with their saint weapons, the origin energy would come from every direction possible at the most critical moment to stop their attacks. It traveled without fear toward their saint weapons and forced them to abandon their attacks to evade it. Otherwise, they would be forced to take an unbearable amount of damage. Seeing that all 3 of them were completely helpless in dealing with Jian Chen, the 3 of them felt extremely furious. Immediately, the sect master and the elder of the sect of Dragon and Tiger let out a roar and simultaneously used their battle skills against Jian Chen. The 2 saint weapons shined with an eye-stabbing amount of light and streaked through the sky with the speed of lightning. With their attacks came a pressure that seemed like it could squash the world. Sensing the pressure press against his body, Jian Chen's lips curled into a sneer and spoke coldly, "You think a mere earth-tier battle skill could injure me?" Whoosh! Whoosh! As he spoke, Jian Chen let loose 2 stabs of his sword toward the 2 battle skills. 2 simultaneous explosions could be heard as the energy from the earth-tier battle skills exploded on contact. A storm of dust then concealed the figures of all 4 combatants. Jian Chen's entire body began to glow with a dazzling light. At a thought, he began to bring the element of wind around his body and envelop himself within it, bringing about a squall of wind. With a flash of azure light, the gradual pickup of the wind element carried Jian Chen's body forward. In the blink of an eye, he had arrived right in front of Chris. With a brandish of his right hand, the origin energy in his began to lash out in a series of intricate sword slashes toward Chris. Chris' face blanched, and he immediately retreated backward to avoid going against Jian Chen. Right now, the other 2 fighters of the sect of Dragon and Tiger had been blown 10 meters away because of the fierce explosion. They wouldn't be able to get to Chris in time. Jian Chen knew this was an excellent time to pick them off one by one, so there was no way he would lose this chance. Immediately charging ahead, he chased after Chris without abandon. Although Chris was a 6th cycle Heaven Saint Master, he was not of the wind element, so his speed would not even be close to comparable with Jian Chen's. The distance between the 2 of them was quickly closed. In the blink of an eye, Jian Chen caught up to him. The entire sky was filled with the azure and violet light as it burst out from every part of Jian Chen's body, leaving no escape for Chris. Then allow me, Chris, to experience just how dangerous this mysterious power, Hu Ba said, is. Chris' eyes flashed dangerously. Without stepping back, he brought his sword down to stab at Jian Chen with all his might. Chris' giant sword stabbed toward the spot in front of him with an irresistible force and without any bit of resistance. As his giant sword came close to Jian Chen's chest, there was a crisp sound of contact that occurred afterward. Ding! The origin energy of the sword spirits made contact with Chris' saint weapon with the unfathomable sound of metal hitting metal. The origin energy had been fully condensed, and although it was not the same type of substance as a saint weapon, it was already as durable as steel. A moment after the sound rang out, Chris' face suddenly blanched before a mouthful of blood came spitting out from his lips. Although Chris was a 6th cycle Heaven Saint Master, the saint weapon was still intrinsically connected to its owner. If the saint weapon was hurt, then, no matter how strong the owner was, they would gain a proportional amount of damage. Even a saint ruler would be no exception. This power is indeed terrifying. Hu Ba was correct, we cannot go head to head against him. Chris exclaimed to himself in astonishment. After personally witnessing the terrifying power of the origin energy, he now knew just how amazing it was. As that line of thought ran across Chris' mind, Jian Chen brought 2 more sword slashes down onto Chris' saint weapon before he could bring it back. Chris' body began to tremble violently as another 2 or 3 spurts of blood came flying out. His face became deathly pale as 3 new chips appeared on his sword, bringing his body to an even more injured state. Sect Master. Be careful, Sect Master. Seeing Chris injured, Hu Ba and the other elder had let out identical cries of astonishment. Immediately flying forward with all their might, they tried to do their best to distract Jian Chen so that Chris would not be further injured or killed. A damaged saint weapon would cause a grave amount of damage to the body. Chris' fighting ability had already been diminished to the point of being no concern. Since Jian Chen wasn't after Chris' life, he simply stopped fighting him. He changed his targets to Hu Ba and the other 5th cycle Heaven Saint Master and did his best to fight against them. The pressure on Jian Chen had noticeably decreased with 1/6 cycle Heaven Saint Master short in the battle. He was able to unleash an endless amount of refined sword moves one after another by using the origin energy as his sword. With his attainments in the path of the sword, he quickly inflicted serious damage on both Hu Ba and the other, causing them both to spit out blood. Damn it all, what power is that for it to be so strong? Hu Ba cursed while wiping the blood away from his mouth. The origin energy of the sword spirits made him so afraid to act because of the thought of hurting himself. Despite the power in his body, he was completely unable and afraid of using it, which made him very sullen. Just at that moment, a tremendous amount of energy suddenly filled the air. In that instant, the clouds in the skies had begun to swirl and the wind had transformed into a hissing gale that pierced the ears. Above everyone's heads, a black cloud had started to quickly form and blot out the surrounding sunlight and drain color away from the area. Heaven tier battle skill. Jian Chen exclaimed in realization. Turning his head to look in a certain direction, he could see Qin Wuming, Qin Wutian, and Qin Wujian all releasing their heaven tier battle skills at the same time. The 3 battle skills were identical, so when they used them all at the same time, there was a sort of resonance between the 3. They harmonized and made the power of the heaven tier battle skill skyrocket. Don't think that you alone hold the monopoly on heaven tier battle skills. Our sect of Dragon and Tiger are in no shortage of them either. An individual roared before a tremendous amount of power shot out from him as he used his own heaven tier battle skill. After this announcement, 3 other members from the sect of Dragon and Tiger used their own heaven tier battle skills. Although the effect of their battle skills didn't achieve the same level of effect as the 3 generals, there was an advantage in numbers which brought the overall power to a tie. Seeing this sight, Chris suddenly blanched before crying out, "No! Stop!" 7 heaven tier battle skills would bring about a tremendous amount of energy whiplash and could destroy the mountain quite easily. This was where the sect of Dragon and Tiger lived, and while there was a barrier that could protect them from any danger, the mountain would not be shielded. In the case that the mountain was destroyed, then the foundations of the sect would be gone, and the aftermath of such a thing was not something Sect Master Chris had wanted. Unfortunately, because of the prior events, both sides had already been brought to a boiling point where they could not even think of the repercussions. Despite Chris opening his mouth in warning, he was far too late. Jian Chen grew grim as well. Immediately retreating several kilometers, his mind moved into action and brought the earth element in the world toward him before ultimately wrapping it around his body to form a yellow armor. Against 7 heaven-tier battle skills, the amount of power that would result from them was many times stronger than a single heaven-tier battle skill. Jian Chen had to be as careful as he could. While the armor of the earth element would be like paper in front of a heaven saint master, it could at least protect his clothes and prevent him from getting into a difficult situation. This would also give Jian Chen a shallow level of defense since he didn't have Saint Force protecting him like the others. At this moment, the 10 fighters from the Qinhuang Kingdom and the remaining members of the sect of Dragon and Tiger had ceased their fighting to get as far away from the 5 as they could. Their Saint Force had already bubbled out and formed a protective layering around them in preparation to withstand the aftermath from the 7 heaven-tier battle skills. Just as everyone was preparing their defenses, the 7 battle skills had finally finished their own preparations. Following a furious roar, all 7 unleashed them at the same time. A strong energy ripped apart the space between them, creating several tiny cracks throughout it. 10 meters within these cracks, the space began to swirl and surge about. In that instant, the 7 battle skills clashed together. But it was what happened afterwards that had caused everyone to widen their eyes in shock and disbelief. Just when the 7 battle skills clashed, there wasn't even a single bit of sound afterward. Not a bit of energy could be seen washing over the area, and the energy that had wrapped around the 7 saint weapons had disappeared without a trace. At this show, everyone was completely stunned. A barrier is blocking them. A voice cried out. Hearing this, everyone's eyes immediately locked onto a spot in between the 7 people. Sure enough, there was a barrier that had appeared out of nowhere. It divided the Heaven Saint Masters from the Qinhuang Kingdom and the sect of Dragon and Tiger. But not only that, the saint weapons from the 7 had been taken away as well. At this sight everyone, Jian Chen included, let out a gasp in shock. Not a single one of them needed to think to know that the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger had finally put his hand into this battle. However, what they didn't think of was that the saint ruler would be strong enough to stop 7 heaven-tier battle skills by a barrier without a problem or letting any energy escape. Is that the might of a saint ruler? Jian Chen's thoughts were in turmoil. In the past he conjectured about their strength many times over. Although he could admit that they were all an existence of unbelievable strength, he would never have imagined that their strength would be at such a terrifying level like this. Under a saint ruler, all are ants. This saying was indeed not a false one. Chapter 509, Might of a Saint Ruler, 3, It's the Elder Sect Master. He has come. Seeing the barrier that obstructed the people there, the sect master Chris felt a surge of emotions flash over his face, forcing him to cry out in astonishment. The hidden saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger had finally come out, causing the fighters from the sect to have a look of joy appear on their faces. The disaster that had nearly befell them had been avoided at last. 7 heaven-tier battle skills would have caused the entire mountain range to collapse, which would destroy the foundations of the sect that had been protected from being destroyed by a barrier. Although this wouldn't kill many disciples of the sect, the destruction of the sect itself would be an extreme sign of humiliation. The elder sect master is far too strong. Even without showing himself, he has managed to put down a barrier right in front of 7 heaven-tier battle skills. Is this the true extent of a saint ruler's strength? There is truly a tremendous gap between a heaven saint master and a saint ruler. With a pale face, the heavily injured Huba muttered to himself in a daze as he looked at the barrier. The elder sect master of the sect of Dragon and Tiger spent all of his time hidden in the mountains cultivating and never appeared in front of anyone. Although many people knew that there was a saint ruler in the sect, no one had seen him for hundreds of years, nor had the saint ruler ever personally taken part of a battle. The spectacle in front of him was a first for Huba. From childhood to now, this was the very first time he had seen the hermit saint ruler taking action. Seeing their elder sect master caused all of the individuals from the sect of Dragon and Tiger to be overjoyed. To them, as long as the elder sect master came forward, then even the most problematic of problems would be neutralized. After all, a saint ruler was something even the Qinhuang kingdom would have to take seriously. On the other side, the 10 members from the Qinhuang kingdom and the 3 generals all displayed extremely grim expressions on their faces. There was no surprise, however. They had expected the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger to make an appearance. Disciples of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, stand back. Just at that moment, an elderly voice echoed across the sky. It was unknown just where this voice had come from, but it sounded calm despite the booming volume and echo. Yes, elder sect master. The heaven saint masters of the sect of Dragon and Tiger flew toward the interior of their sect as obediently as a baby. Chris, Huba, and Mo's Pen. You 3 stay here. The elder sect master's voice could be heard once more as he called out for those 3 individuals. Hearing this, the 3 that had been called were stunned. Their feet immediately halted as they stood in place without another sound. Not even a question was asked. The vice sect leader Huba had been extremely moved. He had not thought that the elder sect master would unexpectedly know his name. To him, the elder sect master knowing his name was an extremely glorious honor. Everyone from the Qinhuang kingdom stood still without a sound. Against a saint ruler, they all felt as if their movements and actions were limited. It was no longer as easy as it was when they were fighting against the heaven saint masters. When Jian Shen personally saw that the 3 people he had been fighting with were told to remain, his heart began to drop. He was already realizing that the situation was taking a turn for the worst. These 3 men that had been told to stay behind were the ones who had their saint weapons chipped by the origin energy and were heavily injured. If the saint ruler had told them to remain behind, could he plan to support them? Quickly, the 10 individuals from the sect of Dragon and Tiger retreated into the sect. They were behind the barrier of the sect where they could continue observing. At this moment, the saint ruler's voice could be heard once more, men from the Qinhuang kingdom. In spite of everything, you've decided to take action against my sect of Dragon and Tiger. Did you take my sect to be that easy to bully? As he spoke, the kindly voice he has used before transformed to gain a hint of steel. Senior of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, this business was started because of your sect. If we were to ignore the matter with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, there is still the matter that happened several days ago. Our orders were to arrest a criminal from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom and escort him back to us, but along the way, the individuals from your sect of Dragon and Tiger ambushed us. Not only was the criminal rescued away from our Qinhuang Kingdom, your people also inflicted serious injuries upon my son. I would like to invite Senior to come speak to us about this. Qin Wuming spoke righteously. Nonsense. What criminal of the Qinhuang Kingdom? The second prince of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is one with our sect of Dragon and Tiger. How could he be sent away like a criminal to your esteemed Qinhuang Kingdom? The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had already been given to our sect to govern and became our territory to uphold. Likewise, if we were to ignore that your Qinhuang Kingdom were trying to seize the territory of ours, you still wish to capture one of our own men. What reason is there for that? The vice sect leader Huba roared. Xiao Tian sneered. Since when did the second prince of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom become one of yours? According to what we know, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom has nothing to do with the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Correct, Carlo is the second prince of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, but his mother is the great-granddaughter of the sect master, Chris. Thus, Carlo is considered to be a direct descendant of our sect of Dragon and Tiger. He is no outsider. As for the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, the king of the kingdom had decided to give it to our sect of Dragon and Tiger for a long time ago, making that territory ours. This time it was Mospen that spoke. Despite his heavy injuries, his voice was still as exuberant as ever. Soon, the two sides descended into an argumentative clamor before the saint ruler finally spoke. Enough, no more squabbling. At a word, both the sect of Dragon and Tiger and the Qinhuang Kingdom obediently closed their mouths. They dared to speak reason to the Saint Ruler, but not to go against him. The Saint Ruler began to speak. The second prince of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is a member of our sect of Dragon and Tiger. For such a small reason, we cannot hand him over to your Qinhuang Kingdom. Men from the Qinhuang Kingdom, you have squabbled, and you have fought. This business ends here. To make amends for the injuries inflicted upon you by our sect of Dragon and Tiger, we shall offer you the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Now, you may all leave. Hearing this, everyone from the Qinhuang Kingdom revealed ugly looks on their faces. While the Saint Ruler's words could be considered to sound kind, his way of doing things was hegemonic in nature. Not only was he protecting the second prince, he was also shifting the responsibilities of the sect of Dragon and Tiger completely. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was already considered part of the Qinhuang Kingdom, so gifting it or not made no difference. Unless the sect of Dragon and Tiger was willing to fight the Qinhuang Kingdom for territory. The still-hidden Saint Ruler spoke again after that. Now that the business between the Qinhuang Kingdom and the sect of Dragon and Tiger is settled, there is still the problem of what happened to Chris and the other two. Their saint weapons were damaged, and although it can be healed, their vital energy has been injured as well. The youngster who damaged them 3, it is time you offer your compense to my sect of Dragon and Tiger. Jianshan growled furiously, I had no idea that senior would deal in such a manner like this. The men from the Qinhuang Kingdom all blanched. Jianshan was the imperial protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom, but he had injured the 3 experts from the sect of Dragon and Tiger. To demand that the Grand Imperial Protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom give compensation, was simply a slap in the face to the Qinhuang Kingdom. Humph. A mere heaven saint master dares speak back to me. Unknowingly, the hidden Saint Ruler suddenly grew furious. At his words, a transparent barrier suddenly appeared around Jian Chen's body, trapping him inside like a prisoner. This barrier was personally created by a Saint Ruler and was far stronger than the barriers Jian Chen had seen used by the influential clan members back in the gathering of the mercenaries in Mercenary City. Even if a Heaven Saint Master were to use a Heaven Tier battle skill, it wouldn't be able to break apart this seemingly weak barrier. Seeing that Jian Chen had been trapped by the Saint Ruler, everyone from the Qinhuang Kingdom grew indignant. Xiao Tian himself immediately shouted, Senior, what is the meaning of this? Could it be that you wish to make our Qinhuang Kingdom an enemy? Your sect of Dragon and Tiger is too savage, do you wish to start a war? Everyone from the Qinhuang Kingdom felt indignant at this injustice. Each one of them was extremely angry at the Saint Ruler's conduct. If not for the fact that they were up against a Saint Ruler, they would have leaped into action a long time ago. Jian Chen was angry as well. Although he was extremely afraid of the strength of a Saint Ruler, he was not such a man that would bow and scrape his head when bullied. Using the origin energy of the sword spirits, he began to stab at the barrier without any hesitation. Jian Chen wasn't certain if the origin energy would be enough to break through the barrier that a Saint Ruler had personally put down, but now was fortunately a good time to test it out. Bow. Just as the origin energy stabbed into the barrier, there was a light sound as the barrier surrounding Jian Chen completely shattered. The barrier that had been strong enough to withstand 7 Heaven Tier battle skills seemed like a balloon popped with a needle in front of Jian Chen. At this sight, everyone from both the Qinhuang Kingdom and the sect of Dragon and Tiger had been shocked into silence. Each one of them had a look of sheer disbelief on their faces. The still-hidden Saint Ruler had let out a surprised cry. He was clearly astonished that Jian Chen was able to pierce through the barrier he had put down. The entire place was quiet for some time before the Saint Ruler finally spoke once more. Youngster, what power is that you have? Tell me how you obtained such a power and this old man will let you go. The origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits caused even the Saint Ruler to covet it. Don't think that I would tell you. Jian Chen replied without hesitation. You seek death. The Saint Ruler was furious. The entire horizon seemed to surge with energy as a tremendous amount of pressure came forth from the sect of Dragon and Tiger toward Jian Chen. Seeing that the Saint Ruler was about to make a move, Xiao Tian's face drained of color before hurriedly shouting, "Halt! That is the imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom. Do you think that you could act toward an imperial protector with success?" The pressure in the sky quickly disappeared and the surge of energy on the horizon just as quickly calmed down as well. Xiao Tian's words had stopped the saint ruler from doing anything to Jian Qin. An imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom was in particularly quite special. The saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger himself could not just injure one without reason. In the case that he did, then all pretense of cordiality between the Qinhuang kingdom and the sect of Dragon and Tiger would be dropped and the Qinhuang kingdom would immediately march for them in open war. This youth is the imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom? The saint ruler asked, clearly not believing Jian Chen's identity. Correct. Jian Chen is indeed the imperial protector of our Qinhuang kingdom. His status is equivalent to the four honored imperial protectors of our Qinhuang kingdom of the past. Qing Xiaofan spoke, clearly describing just how sublime Jian Chen's status was in the Qinhuang kingdom. This time, the saint ruler remained quiet for a very long time. Although Jian Chen was just a heaven saint master, the fact that he was the imperial protector made the saint ruler afraid of the consequences. He knew in his heart that if he did not treat this matter with care, then the four saint rulers of the Qinhuang kingdom would come themselves. "You may go now." The saint ruler's voice boomed half a moment later. Hearing this, the dark-faced Jian Chen and the others from the Qinhuang kingdom gave each other a stare. With a faint nod, they left the area promptly. Everyone knew that with the saint ruler stepping out, it would make no sense for them to remain here any longer. It would be best to first leave and discuss things for the future. Just as everyone rose into the air, the horizons boomed with the voice of the saint ruler once more. "Although you are an imperial protector, you have offended this old man nonetheless. If I do not teach you a lesson here, then there will be others who will take me to be an easy target to bully." The space behind Jian Chen's body suddenly began to surge and twist violently within itself. A tremendous amount of energy came spiraling out from the space and slammed ruthlessly into Jian Chen's back. Chapter 5:10 Heavy damages. Just as everyone rose into the air, the horizons boomed with the voice of the saint ruler once more. "Although you are an imperial protector, you have offended this old man nonetheless. If I do not teach you a lesson here, then there will be others who will take me to be an easy target to bully." The space behind Jian Chen's body suddenly began to surge and twist violently within itself. A tremendous amount of energy came spiraling out from the space and slammed ruthlessly into Jian Chen's back. Although Jian Chen had felt something coming toward his back, he was not able to do anything to dodge because the space around him had frozen for a moment. His body was stuck rigidly in place and was powerless to move in any direction. PFFF. Feeling an extremely large amount of energy slam into his back, Jian Chen spat out a large mouthful of blood and grew extremely pale in the face. The space that had frozen around him disappeared and returned to normal. Jian Chen's body flew forward like a bullet from the impact. 500 meters away, he crashed into a nearby mountain peak. The entire area shattered, leaving Jian Chen in a hole for him to sink into. Experiencing this fierce impact, the entire mountain shook for a moment and emphasized just how strong of blow it had been. Imperial Protector. The 10 imperial advisors and the 3 generals from the Qinhuang kingdom cried out before flying toward that mountain. It was Xiao Tian that went to where Jian Chen had fallen and supported him back up from the hole. At this moment, Jian Chen's entire body hung on Xiao Tian's. Even standing was not a simple task for him at the time. His face was as pale as paper without any blood, and streams of blood had poured out from his mouth without stopping. The top part of his clothes had disappeared as if vaporized by the explosion. Not even a strip of cloth could be seen, leaving the entire part of his body bare. The injured part of Jian Chen's back was a mangled mess without any unbroken skin left to be seen. It was a dreadful wound that had ripped at his internal organs. Even his bones and blood vessels had been split. The strike of a saint ruler was capable of tearing apart space. Even if Jian Chen's body was tempered with the chaotic force, it would be the same as tofu in front of the Saint Ruler. Imperial Protector, are you okay? Take this Radiant Spirit Pill. Qin Wuming immediately took out a Radiant Spirit Pill from his space ring and administered it to Jian Chen in concern. Although a Radiant Spirit Pill was by far not enough to heal Jian Chen's wounds, it would at least temporarily stabilize his wounds and prevent them from getting any worse. Jian Chen gave several harsh coughs while spitting out several particles of parts from his body out from his mouth. Not only was the ground dyed red with blood, it had several bits of the ruptured parts of his internal organs. Jian Chen slowly opened his eyes to look at Xiao Tian, who was supporting him. Powerlessly, he sat down on a giant boulder and gasped for air. His entire body was devoid of strength for the time being because of the serious injuries. If his throat were to have something clogged in it, he would be powerless to say a word. Seeing that Jian Chen had been seriously injured by the Saint Ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, everyone from the Qinhuang Kingdom grew extremely dark in the face. A chilling glare could be seen as a fierce killing intent radiated from their eyes. Although they and Jian Chen had not yet reached an extremely personal level, Jian Chen was an imperial protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom. He represented the face of the Qinhuang Kingdom. For the Saint Ruler to inflict such a wound onto him, this was akin to having him ruthlessly slap the Qinhuang Kingdom in the face without any regards. The Saint Ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger is far too unruly. This business can absolutely not be let go like this. Qin Wutian snarled, fury emerging from his body. We will ensure that the sect of Dragon and Tiger will pay a price for this. Let us return to the Qinhuang Kingdom to report this to the esteemed 4 imperial protectors. This concerns the face of our Qinhuang Kingdom and the millennia worth of reputation we have built up. Our imperial protectors will not sit idly for this. Qing Xiaofan spoke. Indeed. We must have the imperial protectors come on over. If we do not take back the prestige we lost, then our Qinhuang Kingdom will have none left to remain on the Tianyuan continent, let alone remain as one of the strongest 8. Qin Wujin growled. Although the sect of Dragon and Tiger was very far away, everyone was extremely angry. None of them were afraid that the Saint Ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger would hear them. Qin Wuming spoke. We should leave this area first and discuss our next course of action on the road. Yes, let's leave this place first. The wounds of the Imperial Protector are very heavy. He can't even rush down the roads, we must carry him. Xiao Tian spoke. Shortly afterward, Xiao Tian held up the injured Jian Chen and had the energy of the world surround him as they brought him into the air. As everyone was worried about the Saint Ruler attacking again, they surrounded him as they left. They all knew that Jian Chen was an extremely important figure to the Qinhuang Kingdom. This was a future Saint Ruler, so his well-being was extremely crucial. 2 days later, everyone finally returned to the imperial palace of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Although they had left days ago, the imperial palace was still extremely quiet. Only the sounds of the artisans working on the treasury could be heard. Without the express approval from the Qinhuang Kingdom, no person or power would dare enter the imperial palace. Within the imperial palace, Xiao Tian escorted Jian Chen into a room to rest. Jian Chen lay powerlessly on the bed and the rest of the individuals from the Qinhuang Kingdom stood on the other side with a grave expression. I will be using a secret art to heal myself, please see yourself out. Do not disturb me while I am healing myself. Jian Chen spoke weakly. All 13 of the Heaven Saint Masters bowed out from the room to allow Jian Chen to rest by himself in the secluded room. Withdrawing from Jian Chen's room, the 13 Heaven Saint Masters all sat down in front of a circular table. Solomon thought. Qin Wuming suddenly spoke out, Qing Xiaofan, you're a wind-attributed cultivator and faster than the rest of us. Head on back to the Qinhuang Kingdom and report to the Imperial Protectors what happened. No matter why, we must get back the honor we have lost. No problem. Since there's no time to lose, I'll leave right away. With that, Qing Xiaofan stood up to leave. Hold on. Qin Wuming took out a map from his space ring to give to Qin Shaofan. The closest kingdom with a space gate near us is the Dazhou Kingdom. I've marked their location on the map. Go to their kingdom and borrow their space gate to get back. Qin Shaofan took the map and observed it for a while before putting it away and leaving the palace. After Qin Shaofan left, Qin Wuming's eyes looked around the place before sighing. Now we will have to wait here for any more information. The Saint Ruler is someone we alone cannot go against. We must await news from the imperial protectors. Afterward, the 12 Heaven Saint Masters remained within the imperial palace. However, no one dared disturb Jian Chen while he healed. He had the entire palace hall to recover in while the other 12 looked for their own palace halls to reside in around the entire place. In his room, Jian Chen remained weakly on the bed. After he felt the 12 Heaven Saint Masters leave, he finally began to make use of his mind to gather all of the Radiant Saint Force in the world to begin his recovery. Jian Chen was at the equivalent level of a 6th class Radiant Saint Master, so his ability to control the Radiant Saint Force was far stronger than before. In a moment, a condensed milky white ball of Radiant Saint Force appeared in the room. The entire room was bathed in its light. To the human eye, it was a dazzling glow of light that was soft to the sight, not hurtful. Even to the naked eye, it gave off a glow that was brighter than the sun, but did not hurt the eyes at all. Instead, there was an especially comfortable feeling to it. On the bed, Jian Chen was already completely basked in the Radiant Saint Force. He could see the Radiant Saint Force around him traveling within his body at a lightning-quick speed. His body was a bottomless pit or a sponge that absorbed all of the Radiant Saint Force without pause. Under the treatment of the Radiant Saint Force, Jian Chen's injuries began to heal and recover at a rapid rate. The cracks over his skin and the injured internal organs in his body slowly began to recover. Even the fractured bones and blood vessels regrow at a rate that even the human eye could see. Since Jian Chen had used the chaotic force to temper his body's strength was many times stronger than before. With it being many times stronger, the recovery of his body had grown more difficult. It was no longer as simple as it was before. This was because the chaotic force had tempered his body to become stronger, meaning more Radiant Saint Force would be required to recover his body to such a level. Jian Chen knew his body situation extremely well and felt quite helpless in his heart. The chaotic force had truly made his body far stronger than before, but in the case of an injury, it made recovery far more difficult instead of being easy like it was in the past. Jian Chen was willing to bet that the more he used the chaotic force to temper and strengthen his body, the more Radiant Saint Force and the more strenuous it would be for recovery. At the very end, the Radiant Saint Force would become useless in effect. It would appear I need to become a 7th class Radiant Saint Master. This way, I'll be able to heal myself even after the chaotic force is used. Furthermore, there is still my brother's arms and legs as well as the white tiger cub's mother, Rum Guinness, to heal. Jian Chen thought to himself, but he himself knew that becoming a 7th class Radiant Saint Master was still a long path to travel on. It was a path that was perhaps longer than the path from a Heaven Saint Master to a Saint Ruler. Chapter 5:11 Saint Ruler of the Qinhuang Kingdom. Jian Chen's usage of the Radiant Saint Force had been maintained for an entire day before his spirit consumption had finally been too much for him to take. In this time, a small portion of his body's wounds healed. It was not a complete recovery, but movement would not be too terribly hampered now. Afterward, Jian Chen sat cross-legged on his bed with his face unintentionally facing the sky as he began to recover the spirit that he had used up. This was the very first time he had to recover his energy in such a fashion ever since he became a Heaven Saint Master. With another day focused on restoration, Jian Chen's spirit had been replenished to the very max, where he then resumed using the Radiant Saint Force to heal his wounds. Continuing this pattern for 5 whole days, Jian Chen finally healed himself completely. Then, with a change of his clothes, he exited his palace halls. As soon as Jian Chen walked out from the halls, the 12 individuals from the Qinhuang Kingdom came gathering in one after another. For the past week, they had been keeping guard over him from all corners while monitoring the outside for anything. So, Jian Chen's departure from his bedroom had been easily spotted by them. Every single one of the 12 Heaven Saint Masters displayed stunned looks when they saw the healthy Jian Chen walk in front of them without a problem. Xiao Tian's mouth dropped open to ask, "Imperial Protector, your wounds have already fully healed?" Jian Chen nodded. "Correct. I am fully healed now. With the Radiant Spirit pills and another secret method, my recovery rate was accelerated." Jian Chen's secret method had been Radiant Saint Force. The Radiant Saint Force was of a unique nature, and only Heaven Saint Masters or stronger would be able to sense it. Other people would be completely unable to sense it. Even with these Heaven Saint Masters, Jian Chen had spent the past few days making sure all of the Radiant Saint Force had been depleted so that none of the 12 would be able to sense it. Imperial Protector, Qing Shaofan has already returned to the Qinhuang Kingdom to request the 4 ancestors to come straight away. Right now we will just need to remain here for several days. I have faith that they will come straight away. Until then, we should discuss the best method on how to deal with the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Qin Wuming spoke. That's fine. We'll stay here for 2 days. I especially will not let this matter with the sect of Dragon and Tiger end like so. Jian Chen spoke with a dangerous gleam in his eyes. That is to be expected. The Imperial Protector's talent exceeds all others and could be said to be the first in the history of the Tian Yuan continent. With such a frightening battle strength, no other Heaven Saint Masters can be a match. You could be said to be even the strongest one beneath Saint Rulers. In the future, when the Imperial Protector breaks through to the Saint Ruler realm, what fear would there be for the Saint Ruler of the measly sect of Dragon and Tiger? Even if the Saint Ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger established himself many years ago, I doubt he would be a match for the Imperial Protector then. Tian Luo spoke with a serious and earnest expression. After traveling with Jian Chen for days, the 5 Heaven Saint Masters that had gone with Jian Chen to the Jessen Kingdom already had a decent grasp of how strong he was. One may ask 2 5th cycle Heaven Saint Masters and a 6th cycle Heaven Saint Master, who had lost to Jian Chen, just how many people beneath the Saint Rulers on the Tian Yuan continent would be able to accomplish the same thing? Furthermore, back in front of the mountain gates to the sect of Dragon and Tiger, Jian Chen had easily shattered the barrier that a Saint Ruler had personally placed on him. With such a glorious fighting strength, in the realm of Heaven Saint Masters aside from Jian Chen, what other person would be able to accomplish this same feat? The same day Jian Chen had fully recovered, Qing Shaofan had reached the Dazhou Kingdom. After flashing proof of his identity, that he was from the Qinhuang Kingdom, the king of the Dazhou Kingdom treated him completely different than before and had become all smiles with him. Although the Dazhou Kingdom was quite far from the Jessen Kingdom and the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, the news that had transpired there made its way around like wildfire. Even the faraway Dazhou Kingdom had heard the news and understood that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, a kingdom that was not as weak as the Dazhou Kingdom, had been laid waste to and destroyed by 500,000 elite soldiers and more than a dozen individuals from the Qinhuang Kingdom. This had allowed even the commoners of the continent to see the terrifying might of one of the 8 great powers. When they learned that Qing Shaofan was an imperial advisor for the Qinhuang Kingdom and wished to use the space gate to return to the Qinhuang Kingdom, the king of the Dazhou Kingdom no longer held any doubts to his identity. He didn't even need proof that Qing Shaofan was who he said he was before allowing him to pass through their space gate to the Qinhuang Kingdom without any problems. After returning to the Qinhuang Kingdom, Qing Shaofan ran like the wind and lightning back to the Imperial Palace where the Qin Heaven Palace was. There was a total of 5 Qin Heaven Palaces in the Imperial Palace of the Qinhuang Kingdom. Each one was dedicated specifically for an Imperial Protector to use. They were the 5 palaces that held the most power in the Imperial Palace, and even the palace of the king of the Qinhuang Kingdom was incomparable. Qing Shaofan arrived in front of one of the Qin Heaven Palace and was immediately stopped by one of the guards standing guard there. "Please halt here, Imperial Advisor. Without the permission of the honored Imperial Protector, no one may enter." The Imperial Guard spoke politely to Qing Shaofan. Qing Shaofan nodded his head. If I may trouble you to ask the honored imperial protector, Qing Xiaofan has a matter of extreme importance to report. This matter relates to the honor of our Qinhuang kingdom and the imperial protector Jian Qin. Hearing this, the imperial guard knew that this matter was of critical importance. Solemnly, he replied, "Please wait here, imperial advisor. This humble officer will immediately report to the honored imperial protector." With that, the imperial guard captain personally ran into the palace. Rapidly, the captain came running back out from the Qin Heaven Palace and spoke to Qing Xiaofan, imperial advisor, "Please enter." With a bow, Qing Xiaofan sucked in a deep breath and tidied up his own clothes before striding into the Qin Heaven Palace. "By the request of the honored imperial protector, please follow this slave servant, imperial advisor Qing Xiaofan." As soon as Qing Xiaofan entered the palace halls, a maid called out to him to follow her. Not long after, the two came to a stop outside of a room. The doors to the room were closed shut, and the maid made no efforts to open them. Merely standing outside of them, she spoke respectfully, "A report for the honored imperial protector, the imperial advisor Qing Xiaofan has been brought. You may leave." A gentle but ample voice called out from within the room. From the voice, one could just barely make out the fact that this speaker was a middle-aged man. "Yes, this slave servant will now depart." The maid bowed before the door and left the area with light footsteps. Qing Xiaofan wishes to pay his respects to the honored imperial protector. After the maid had left, Qing Xiaofan immediately bowed ritualistically to the doors respectfully. Behind these doors, there was a hermit at the level of a saint ruler. An entity that was essentially a paramount. "Qing Xiaofan, you have a matter to report." The man was still speaking quite gently, giving a warm and cordial sense. Compared to the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, it was completely different. "Honored imperial protector, the matters is as it stands." After making his opening statement, Qing Xiaofan spoke in great detail of what had happened. He made sure to emphasize the rampant matters of the sect of Dragon and Tiger and how they did not place the Qinhuang kingdom in their eyes at all. It was hard to hide the fury in his eyes, and at last, Qing Xiaofan spoke of how the saint ruler had clearly known and acknowledged that Jian Qin was an imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom and had still inflicted a serious wound onto him. Even the imperial protector in the room felt quite indignant after listening to Qing Xiaofan's story. The sect of Dragon and Tiger knew that Jian Qin was an imperial protector for our Qinhuang kingdom and still dared to attack him. This is simply an act against our Qinhuang kingdom. Qing Xiaofan, you acted appropriately. We of the Qinhuang kingdom must protect the millennia of honor our country has built up. We will simply not allow anyone to challenge or make an enemy of our Qinhuang kingdom. You may leave first. I will go discuss with the other three. Chapter 5:12. The personal arrival of a saint ruler. Even the imperial protector in the room felt quite indignant after listening to Qing Xiaofan's story. The sect of Dragon and Tiger knew that Jian Qin was an imperial protector for our Qinhuang kingdom and still dared to attack him. This is simply an act against our Qinhuang kingdom. Qing Xiaofan, you acted appropriately. We of the Qinhuang kingdom must protect the millennia of honor our country has built up. We will simply not allow anyone to challenge or make an enemy of our Qinhuang kingdom. You may leave first. I will go discuss with the other three. Yes, honored imperial protector, Qin Xiaofan will be taking his leave then. Qin Xiaofan spoke respectfully before bowing with his body and leaving the room with a light step to his feet. After Qin Xiaofan had left, the doors had abruptly opened, revealing a white-robed middle-aged looking man that slowly walked out. The middle-aged man didn't look past 40 years old, but his hair was completely white. There was nothing to hold his hair up, so his hair hung freely over his shoulder like a silver waterfall. The man's face was stalwart. His pitch-black eyes contained a depth similar to the stars in the night sky. They seemed to hide even the world itself, but from the light in his eyes, it was as if there was another expansive world to be seen in there. This middle-aged man was one of the imperial protectors of the Qinhuang kingdom, Qin Yunlong. Qin Yunlong was a member of the imperial palace and had been the king for the kingdom 1,000 years ago. Not long after he had abdicated the throne, he made a breakthrough to reach the paramount realm of a saint ruler. From then on, he hid himself away in the Qin Heaven Palace where very few had seen him. After Qin Yunlong exited his room, he walked toward the other palaces. Passing through the drawing room at the center, several maids could be seen chatting there. As a maid within the Qin Heaven Palace, their statuses were among the highest in the Qin Huang Kingdom. There weren't many things to do in the Qin Heaven Palace aside from cleaning and any other everyday affairs. The imperial protectors spent all their time within their rooms cultivating, and aside from anything major, they would never come out. Some of the maids had gone tens of years without hearing the voice of one of the imperial protectors. When Qin Yunlong appeared without a sound right in front of these maids, they immediately halted their conversation to stare at Qin Yunlong in brief amazement. Even their most basic manners had been forgotten at that moment. Although some maids had been in the Qin Heaven Palace for many years, they had never personally seen the imperial protector before. There were very few people aside from them that would visit the Qin Heaven Palace since not many people had even the right to do so in the first place. Even the guards on the outside would never dare enter the palace without something serious to report. So when this middle-aged man appeared in front of the maids, they were stunned for a good while. Ever since they had been hired to come to the Qin Heaven Palace, they had never seen a stranger enter it. Not paying attention to the maids, Qin Yunlong walked toward the gates. As he approached the gates, they swung open without a sound. Seeing Qin Yunlong disappear past the gates, the maids finally regained their wits. Thunderstruck, one of the maids let out a low gasp. Dear heavens, he can't be the honored imperial protector, could he? Hearing this, the other maids immediately became as pale as a sheet. I didn't think that the honored imperial protector would actually come out. It's all over, we didn't greet him at all. This isn't respectful to the imperial protector at all. In the case that the honored imperial protector is offended, that'll be a capital offense for all of us. Outside the Qin Heaven Palace, the imperial guards standing watch at the gates saw Qin Yunlong and were stunned as well. However, they immediately shaped up. They knelt down on their knee. This petty officer pays his respects to the honored imperial protector. The captain guard boomed first. He had already watched over the Qin Heaven Palace for 100 years, and the last time he had seen the imperial protector Qin Yunlong had been at least 50 years ago. He knew full well that this person in front of him was one of the paramount saint rulers of the Tianyuan continent. This petty officer pays his respects to the honored imperial protector. The moment the imperial captain had mentioned, honored imperial protector, every single imperial guard standing watch over the Qin Heaven Palace immediately knew who this Qin Yunlong was and knelt down to the ground. There is no need to be so polite, rise. Qin Yunlong rose both palms up, causing several hundred imperial guards to feel an immovable pressure come up from beneath their knees, bringing them up. Qin Yunlong traveled through the imperial palace, and with each step he took, he traveled a few dozen meters. In a flash, he arrived at the other Qin Heaven Palace. When he entered the Qin Heaven Palace, 3 elders had already gathered at a table. These 3 elders all had their hair tied up in a crane style, and aside from this, they were not that unordinary looking. Each one of them was extremely common in appearance, just like an ordinary elderly man. On the side, there were several maids trembling in fear as they poured tea. Qin Yunlong didn't even greet anyone there. He instead walked straight to his magnificent throne at the table. Elder Qin, what matter did you call us 3 here for? One of the elders spoke. His voice was quite high-pitched as if he was speaking from a horn. Qin Yunlong thought for a moment before speaking. It primarily pertains to Jian Chen. After that statement, he told the other 3 elders what Qing Shaofan had told him. I may have heard of this sect of dragon and tiger before. They were established a few thousand years ago, but that saint ruler they have only made the breakthrough 1,000 years ago. From what I know, they only have one saint ruler. Yet, they still have the cheek to act against our Qinhuang kingdom. An elder spoke. A single saint ruler still dares offend our Qinhuang kingdom. It seems in the 1,000-year peace for our kingdom, there have been several factions that have seen fit to remove us from their eyes. Qin Yunlong spoke. What do the three of you propose we do about this? Jian Shen has a talent that exceeds all else. There is no one else in history who has been able to reach the Heaven Saint Master realm at such a young age as he did. With access to the Holy Lands, there is no need to debate if he will become a saint ruler. He may very well become a saint king. Thus, he holds a very important position in our Qinhuang kingdom. If the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger dares act against him, then we cannot just sit idly, otherwise, Jian Shen may very well hold us complaint. I agree with that. No matter if we deal with the sect of Dragon and Tiger as a way to protect the honor of the Qinhuang kingdom or as a substitute for Jian Shen's response, we must all see this through in person. Do you all agree? Another elder spoke. Qin Yunlong chuckled. I was a member of the imperial palace of the Qinhuang kingdom, and this matter concerns the prestige of my Qinhuang kingdom. There is no way I could not do anything. Harry and I will be all that's needed to go. That'll do. With you two, there'll be nothing to worry about even if the sect of Dragon and Tiger has outside help. When will you two set out? It is best not to delay matters, we will leave now. Afterward, Qin Yunlong and Harry called in Qing Xiaofan. He led the two saint rulers to the space gate to leave the Qinhuang kingdom. In the center of the imperial palace in the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, there was a fist-sized hole in the middle of a large clearing. In that hole was another fist-sized crystal. Just at that moment, a multicolored light came flashing out from the previously ordinary-looking crystal. After that flash, the space above it began to ripple and twist before gradually forming a 3-meter-high doorway. When the space gate formed, Jian Shen and the other 12 individuals immediately sensed it. Flying into the middle of the palace at high speeds, they came to a stop right in front of it. After the space gate had completely stabilized, one was able to clearly see the scene within the space, the imperial palace of the Qinhuang kingdom. Qing Xiaofan and 2 imperial protectors from the Qinhuang kingdom stepped through the space gate. The space gate then winked out of existence after they crossed. We pay our respects to the honored imperial protectors. The 12 imperial advisors bowed in salute. They were all of the Qinhuang kingdom and knew of the first 4 imperial protectors of the Qinhuang kingdom. Jian Shen stared curiously at the middle-aged and elderly man behind Qing Xiaofan. Although he knew that both of them were saint rulers, his heart did not feel anything out of the ordinary. This was because he had seen this type of existence many times before. The first had been those dozen elders back in Mercenary City, and then the mother of the white tiger cub, Rum Guinness. Then, there was the old ape king of the spirit apes. All of them were of the saint ruler realm. After seeing so many saint rulers, Jian Shen had gradually grown insensitive to them, and no longer felt as excited as he had the first time he saw one. The eyes of the 2 saint rulers gathered on Jian Shen before the elderly one smiled. You must be Jian Shen. Jian Shen cupped his hands together. This one is Jian Shen, I pay my respect to my seniors. Jian Shen, there is no need for the politeness. I am Qin Yunlong, the 173rd generation king of the Qinhuang kingdom. By my side is Harry, although he is not of our kingdom, he is my best friend. Qin Yunlong smiled, speaking to Jian Shen as if they were on equal standing. In the eyes of the Qinhuang kingdom, Jian Shen was the future pillar of the kingdom. Although there was currently 4 saint rulers for the Qinhuang kingdom, they would not live forever. One day, there would come a time for their lives to end. Seeing how amiable and approachable these 2 saint rulers were, Jian Shen gained a very nice first impression of the 2. Words of greeting and conversation were made promptly afterward before the 2 saint rulers moved to the crux of the problem. Jian Shen, the 2 of us already know about the aggressions of the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Our Qinhuang kingdom will certainly not leave matters at this. You can lead the way, and we will meet and deal with that saint ruler. Chapter 5:13, Invitation of the Saint Ruler. The arrival of two saint rulers had instilled a great amount of confidence in Jian Chen. His heart now no longer feared the sect of Dragon and Tiger. After they had arrived, the entire group set off for the sect with the two saint rulers leading the way. A day later, Jian Chen and the others from the Qinhuang kingdom reached the sect of Dragon and Tiger once more. Seeing the towering buildings of the sect on the mountain, no one felt any more pressure in their hearts. The pressure that was once exerted on them by the saint ruler was gone without a trace. That was due to the fact that the two saint rulers that had come from the Qinhuang kingdom completely dominated over the one from the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Honored guests from the Qinhuang kingdom, if you are inclined, please come into the sect of Dragon and Tiger to sit. When everyone had gotten close to the mountain gates, a calm elderly voice could be heard from the interior of the sect. This was the voice of the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Perhaps it was because he was dealing with two saint rulers from the Qinhuang kingdom, but the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger's attitude had completely vanished. Several days ago, Jian Chen and the other heaven saint masters weren't able to pinpoint where the saint ruler's voice was coming from. However, this time, they could clearly hear that it was coming from within the sect now. The voice of the saint ruler had made its way to the ears of many individuals within the sect. In shock, they piled out one after another from the buildings and stared solemnly at the flying group of people off in the distance. When the sect master Chris and the other heaven saint masters heard the saint ruler speak, they grew especially grim. They knew that if the saint ruler called someone honored guests, then that meant they were of equal standings with him. Plus, there were two of them, which meant the pressure they felt had multiplied greatly. Qin Yunlong gave a cold smile as he stared deeply at the sect of Dragon and Tiger. You all stay here. Harry and I will go inside to meet with that saint ruler. After that, Qin Yunlong and Harry both transformed into two currents of light and flew to the sect at unbelievable speeds. Their speed was so fast that even the space around their bodies began to slightly distort. In that split moment, the two figures of the saint rulers from the Qinhuang kingdom disappeared from Jian Chen's sight. Their speed had been so fast that even Jian Chen had been astonished. Jian Chen and the others stared anxiously at the encampment where the sect was. How do you think the two honored imperial protectors will deal with this situation? Xiao Tian asked. That doesn't even need to be said. The sect of Dragon and Tiger may be a major sect on the continent, but they only have a single saint ruler. How could they be a match for our Qinhuang kingdom? The honor of our kingdom cannot be so easily violated. So I can see that if the sect of Dragon and Tiger wishes to get by this peacefully, they have no other choice but to pay a hefty price. One of the imperial advisors spoke. Correct. Now that two imperial protectors have personally arrived, the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger wouldn't dare keep the same attitude he had several days back, or else the sect of Dragon and Tiger will be razed down to the ground today. I would look forward to that. The destruction of the sect of Dragon and Tiger isn't very important, but what's truly important is that we would have the good fortune of being able to witness a battle between saint rulers. I have lived for many years, but I have never seen a battle between saint rulers before. Qin Wujian smiled joyously. Hearing this, Qin Wujian agreed as well. Yes, I wish to see that saint ruler remain unyielding. That way, we will be able to see the strength of a saint ruler. The two brothers had an expectant gleam in their eyes in eagerness to see the two saint rulers from the Qinhuang kingdom fight against the saint ruler from the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Hearing the two chatter, Qin Wuming's face grew slightly dark as he growled, "You two settle down. Are you two even capable of discussing the matters of the imperial protectors?" Qin Wuming was clearly held in high regard by both Qin Wujian and Qin Wutian. With a few words, Qin Wujian and Qin Wutian instantly grew quiet. Although they were all heaven saint masters, the two brothers didn't dare go against their own father. Afterward, no one bothered to speak anymore. They watched the empty space above the sect of Dragon and Tiger in silence. Many of them had already predicted a good show, leaving them quite expectant. In this quiet moment, time seemed to have gone by in rapid succession. Unknowingly, a candle wick's worth of time had passed by, but there had been no explosion or sounds of battle to be seen or heard from the interior of the sect. Not even a single iota of battle presence could be felt. It was as if all was quiet in the world. Seeing the period of calmness in the sect, Jian Chen's eyebrows creased together. This was something he felt was different than what he had imagined. Continuing to stand there, 2 hours had quickly gone by before the two saint rulers from the Qinhuang kingdom finally came back out. Upon this sight, Jian Chen had a look of disappointment flash briefly across his face before disappearing just as quickly. The two saint rulers' way of dealing with this situation had been quite different than what Jian Chen had expected. In his mind, he would never let such a matter like this be let off so easily. He had been heavily injured by the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger after all. If not for the fact that the saint ruler had been afraid of his title of an imperial protector, then Jian Chen might have not been able to leave the sect that day. That was because the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger had deeply coveted the strength of the azure and violet sword spirits Jian Chen had. The two saint rulers walked into view of everyone, but their faces were quite unwell, gloomy even. Qin Yunlong especially had a bit of a frosty gleam in his usually deep eyes. The 13 Heaven Saint Masters and Jian Chen tried to discern information from their body language. Seeing how the two saint rulers were in such a state, everyone grew quiet for a moment, instantly growing serious. They all realized that the situation had to have some sort of terrifying or unwanted turn of events. "Seniors, what is the result of this matter?" Jian Chen couldn't help but ask. In this group, only he had an identity high enough to speak. If it wasn't him that did, then it wouldn't be suitable. Qin Yunlong spoke. "Jian Chen, your grievances with the sect of Dragon and Tiger concludes here." Hearing this, Jian Chen's face changed abruptly. Muttering, he asked, "Seniors, could it be that the sect of Dragon and Tiger is far too strong to have seniors be afraid?" Qin Yunlong shook his head. "That isn't it. The sect of Dragon and Tiger is nothing to worry about, but there is still a secret to be revealed here. Jian Chen, we too will head back to the Qinhuang kingdom straight away and will be taking our leave first. May seniors have a good voyage." Jian Chen cupped his hands. "May the honored imperial protectors have a good voyage." The 13 Heaven Saint Masters bowed in respect. Qin Yunlong stared at the 13 individuals and spoke. "Help Imperial Protector Jian Chen tidy up the rest of the affairs here and then come back when finished." With that, Qin Yunlong and Harry immediately left the area. Their speed was extremely fast, and in that instant, they had already disappeared off into the horizon with haste. Seeing the two saint rulers recede away, Jian Chen and the other 13 felt unwell. From the appearances of the two saint rulers, everyone could tell that something terrifying must have happened and bore relevance to the Qinhuang kingdom. "Let us go back then." Jian Chen called out to everyone and prepared to leave. "Might everyone stay here for a little longer?" Suddenly, a voice called out from behind. Everyone could see the sect master Chris come flying out. He ascended in front of Jian Chen. Seeing the sect master Chris, Jian Chen's face darkened as he spoke coldly. "Sect Master Chris, what business might you have?" If not for the fact that there was a saint ruler hidden in the sect behind him, then Jian Chen would wish nothing more than to inflict yet more serious damage to Chris. There was a carefree smile on his face as if he had completely forgotten about the matters that had happened a few days ago. Cupping his hands, he spoke. "Imperial Protector, our elder sect master wishes for you to sit within our sect for the time being." Hearing this, Jian Chen started while the other 13 individuals from the Qinhuang kingdom instantly displayed gloomy and cold expressions on their faces. Sensing the hostility from everyone around him, Chris revealed a faint smile. "Everyone needs not worry. Our elder sect master only wishes to chat with the Imperial Protector and increase our goodwill with each other. There will be nothing done to make it unfavorable for the Imperial Protector. After all, our sect doesn't dare become an enemy for your Qinhuang kingdom." The 13 felt the tension ease from their faces, but they looked to Jian Chen one after another. If it had been anyone else that had asked, then they would have said no for Jian Chen, but the request had come from an enemy saint ruler. Jian Chen hesitated. He didn't know just what the Saint Ruler had done to make the two Saint Rulers from the Qinhuang Kingdom give up their pursuit on this matter, but the words Qin Yunlong had mentioned before comforted Jian Shen. The sect of Dragon and Tiger was nothing to worry about. With that in mind, Jian Shen felt a little relieved. Agreeing to Chris' proposal, he replied, "If I don't go, it would appear that I, Jian Shen, feared your sect of Dragon and Tiger. That's all then. If your elder sect master wishes to talk with me, then I will see just what he wishes to talk with me about." Jian Shen turned back to the 13 Heaven Saint Masters. "Wait here for the moment. I will go in." With that, Jian Shen didn't delay for even a second and flew straight into the interior of the sect. Under Chris' lead, Jian Shen arrived at the mountain in the back of the sect and finally came to a stop right in front of a cavern. "Imperial Protector, the Elder Sect Master is in this place. I'm afraid I cannot accompany you into this cavern." Chris spoke to Jian Shen right outside of the entrance. Jian Shen didn't speak a word and strode into the cavern by himself. Passing through a 100-meter corridor, he finally arrived at an expansive space within the mountain. It was well illuminated, and countless of fist-sized night pearls adorned the ceiling of the cavern to provide the entire place with some light. The cavern was simple in arrangement. In the middle, there was a simple stone table built, and a single layer of dust could be clearly seen on the table. This cavern had clearly not been swept for a very long time. Not only was the table like this, but even the ground was no exception. Whenever Jian Shen took a step, a clear footprint could be seen left behind. Jian Shen swept his eyes around the place only to discover that there was no one here. Just as he was about to become doubtful, a clear sound could be heard from the side where a stone door began to open, allowing a black-robed elder to appear in front of Jian Shen. This elder had a crane-styled haircut and was quite tall and sturdy. His back was built like a bear and his shoulders like a tiger. Just standing there, he was like a tall shield at about 2 meters tall, a height that was about a head taller than Jian Shen. Chapter 5:14, Negotiations. Seeing this elder, Jian Shen's eyes flashed with a fierce gleam that was not at all hard to see. There was no need to even think to know that this elder was without a doubt the Saint Ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Jian Shen stood there in silence and observed the Saint Ruler without a word of greeting or movement. There was no goodwill felt for this Saint Ruler since the memory of him being severely injured by him was still fresh in Jian Shen's mind. The elder paid no mind to Jian Shen's silence and lackluster movements. He just stared at Jian Shen with eyes that seemed unnaturally deep. They almost seemed capable of seeing through the secrets Jian Shen had without fail. With a smile, he spoke, "It is no wonder you are an imperial protector for the Qinhuang Kingdom even as a Heaven Saint Master. With a talent that exceeds all others, it is still rare to see someone so young to step into the Heaven Saint Master realm." The Saint Ruler paused his words when he didn't see Jian Shen reply, but continued to speak again afterward. "There is a life or death threshold to cross from an Earth Saint Master to a Heaven Saint Master. This threshold is one of the only times of danger a cultivator experiences in his or her progression. For an Earth Saint Master to make the breakthrough to become a Heaven Saint Master, they need to be able to control the energy of the world as well. This step is something that countless of talented Earth Saint Masters may not be able to accomplish, thus, their road ends there. Only a few destined ones make it past this obstruction and make that next step into the realm of the Heaven Saint Masters. It is more difficult than the previous 2 obstacles for a Heaven Saint Master to make the breakthrough to become a Saint Ruler. For to become a Saint Ruler, one must be able to comprehend the mysteries of the world. These mysteries of the world are far more complex than the energies of the world. Cultivation talent will not make up for the deficit of not understanding. Within the Tianyuan continent, those with unparalleled talent are not many, but there are still enough that have become a Heaven Saint Master under the age of 50. Among those that did, the ones that became a Saint Ruler can be counted on one's fingers. However, even among them, there are many that fell off the road halfway and were unable to understand the mysteries of the world and remained a Heaven Saint Master. Hearing this, Jian Chen's eyebrows creased together and spoke expressionlessly. Senior, did you call me here in hopes to give me this tidbit of information? The Saint Ruler gave a faint smile. Don't be in such a hurry. Listen to what I have to say first, Jian Chen. I know that you are the #1 mercenary from the most recent gathering of the mercenaries, and you were able to enter the Holy Lands to cultivate. Although legend has it on the continent that anyone that is able to enter the Holy Lands will later make the breakthrough to become a Saint Ruler, it is only a possibility. Think about how long Mercenary City has existed on the continent, and how many times a person was able to enter the Holy Lands to cultivate every 50 years. With so many years gone by since its creation, the amount of people that have entered the Holy Lands are plenty, but in the end, how many of them managed to become a Saint Ruler? The Saint Ruler looked to Jian Chen and continued to speak. Jian Chen, I have a scroll here that I found several hundred years ago in a cave that belonged to a Saint Ruler. This scroll contains the realizations of a heaven Saint Master that became a Saint Ruler and was what I relied upon years ago to study and make the breakthrough to become a Saint Ruler. Although this scroll is not that useful for a Saint Ruler, it is a treasure among treasures for a heaven Saint Master, for this scroll is a shortcut to the path of a Saint Ruler. Hearing this, Jian Chen could already more or less figure out what the Saint Ruler was planning. His mouth curled into an icy smile. Senior, do you mean to say that you wish to give this scroll to me in exchange for something from me, correct? Correct. The Saint Ruler gave up beating around the bush and continued with what he had wanted to say straight away. Jian Chen, this old man can give you this scroll free of charge, but on one condition. This old man wishes to know about the secret of that mysterious power. Where would one be able to obtain this secret, and how would one be able to cultivate its secrets? Jian Chen didn't hesitate to shake his head with the same cold smile. My apologies, Senior. Please forgive this one for not being able to answer. The Saint Ruler was not angered. It seemed that he had predicted this outcome and patiently explained, Jian Chen, consider this deal for a while. Although you may be the strongest of all beneath Saint Rulers with that energy, you are still a weak little ant in front of a Saint Ruler. To exchange the mystery that is that energy for a shortcut to become a Saint Ruler does not negatively impact you. There is no need for considerations. Senior, if there is nothing more that needs to be said, then this one will be taking my leave. Jian Chen cupped his hands and prepared to leave. Jian Chen, if you are still not pleased with this transaction, then I will add on an additional object. The Saint Ruler was adamant and really wished to know the mystery behind the energy Jian Chen possessed. Jian Chen hesitated slightly, but for the Saint Ruler to learn of the origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits, that was not a good thing. Despite his concerns, Jian Chen did not yield. I am afraid to disappoint Senior, but no matter what priceless treasure you offer me, I will not divulge my secrets. Senior, please give up on this. With that, Jian Chen turned around and left. Despite the other person being a Saint Ruler, he did not fear him at all. After Jian Chen had left, the Saint Ruler's warm expression instantly froze over. Staring at the disappearing figure of Jian Chen, his eyes revealed a frosty glare. If you refuse my toast, then take the wine instead. With that, the space within the cave seemed to instantly freeze over, and it seemed that time had completely stopped within. After leaving the sect, Jian Chen's heart grew firm. Now that the Saint Ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger was thinking about the origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits, this could be a potential threat to Jian Chen. Although he had the support of the Qinhuang Kingdom, the sect of Dragon and Tiger wouldn't be too afraid to conduct a covert move against him. Jian Chen regrouped with Xiao Tian and the others. When they saw how serious Jian Chen was, someone immediately asked in concern, Imperial Protector, did the Saint Ruler not do anything with you? He covets the energy I wield. Jian Chen spoke gravely. Hearing this, the dozen Imperial advisors blanched. To have a Saint Ruler set his eyes on someone was not a good thing. Furthermore, they could all predict what would happen after this was over. Imperial Protector, we may as well head back to the Qinhuang Kingdom. In there, the sect of Dragon and Tiger wouldn't dare do anything to you. Tian Luo proposed. For the time being, I cannot. There is still plenty I need to do. Well, we shouldn't talk about this for now. Let's leave first. It's unclear whether or not the things we fear are superfluous or not. Jian Chen spoke. A day later, the group of people arrived back at the imperial palace of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. As soon as they had descended, a single silver-armored soldier came running forward and knelt in front of Jian Chen, a report for the honored imperial protector. The treasury has been completely dismantled. All of the materials have been placed within space rings and are ready for transport. Jian Chen took the space ring and inspected the materials inside. Sure enough, there were plenty of piles of tempered steel that formed a mini mountain range. Jian Chen kept the space ring and spoke to every soldier, gather everyone and return to the Jessen Kingdom. The matters within the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had long since been finished, and the business with the sect of Dragon and Tiger had been temporarily finished. There was no point in staying here any longer, so Jian Chen and the group had no desire to stay in the Imperial Palace either. They immediately left the palace, and returned to the Jessen Kingdom. This time, the entire group split between two paths. Jian Chen and the Imperial advisors traveled together through the air toward the Jessen Kingdom while the three generals traveled with the 100 elite soldiers, who were mounted on their magical beasts, toward the Jessen Kingdom on ground. With the speed of flying through the air, Jian Chen and the 10 other individuals had only wasted 2 days' worth of time before arriving back at the Jessen Kingdom. When they descended down into Lore City, they were greeted by the 500,000 Eastern deity soldiers who had returned several days before them. At this moment, all of the soldiers were gathered in a large encampment near Lore City. Jian Chen and the other 10 individuals from the Qinhuang Kingdom entered Lore City and slowly landed in the Changyang Manor. The Changyang Manor had been completed several days ago as well. Its scale was at least double than what it was before, and a giant street now encompassed the outside of it. The ceremony for the manor had not been conducted because the most important figure of the Changyang clan had not returned yet. The family and guards of the Changyang clan had remained within the inns, living there during this time. Before the ceremony started, no one dared enter the manor. This was one of the traditions of the Tian Yuan continent they feared to break. As soon as Jian Chen and his group descended down to the ground, another group of people could be seen hurrying toward them. Leading the group was Changyang Ba and Bai Yuntian. Chang Wuji and several of the other elders followed them from behind. Seeing the 10 imperial advisors gather around Jian Chen like the stars around the moon, Changyang Ba displayed a look of utmost pride in his eyes. Laughing merrily, he spoke, "Xianger, I didn't think that you would return this quickly. We only returned 2 hours ago ourselves." Seeing his parents, Jian Chen immediately felt happier and smiled in greeting, "Father, Mother." "Xianger, the matters with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom have been taken care of now, correct? There was no problems, I hope?" Changyang Ba asked in concern. Everything has been taken care of. Father doesn't need to worry about these matters anymore." Jian Chen gave a comforting smile. He simply didn't dare speak about the matters that had happened with the sect of Dragon and Tiger since he knew that his parents would be even more worried. "That's fine then. Xianger, the manor has been completely rebuilt. Now that you've returned, let us conduct the official ceremony in 3 days. Xianger, was there something you wanted to say?" Changyang Ba spoke. In front of his own son, he seemed to have forgotten about his own position as the head of the clan and completely handed the discussion over to Jian Chen. "Father, as long as you are the host, then it's fine." Jian Chen smiled. "So it'll be then. Now that this matter is over, Chang Wuji, I'll have to trouble you with sending out the invitations. Please invite the officials of the Jessen Kingdom for them to participate in the official ceremony of the Changyang Manor in 3 days' time." Changyang Ba boomed with laughter. Chapter 515, A Visit from Elders Feng and Yun. The situation for the Changyang clan in the Jessen Kingdom was far different than before. The opening ceremony was extremely magnificent, and every single major party within the kingdom had been invited, even the Huayun sect that had caused trouble for the Changyang clan had been no exception. No one that had received an invitation had declined it. On the very first day after the invitations were sent out, plenty of people had already shown up to Lore City. These people were all the strongest representatives of their respective clans or families, and they were here to pay respect to the honorable Changyang clan. As a side mission, they were trying their best to show the friendliest of intentions to them. This time, the inhabitants of the Jessen Kingdom weren't the only ones that knew about the trek of the Qinhuang Kingdom and Jessen Kingdom to the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. All of the surrounding kingdoms had gained knowledge of the information as well. It stirred a giant wave of attention from even the more influential factions. Even the movement of the Eastern deity swords had been investigated before everyone had made a startling conclusion. The reason why the Qinhuang Kingdom was helping the Jessen Kingdom was because of the Changyang clan. Therefore, even people who hadn't been invited to the opening ceremony of the Changyang clan showed up alongside the ones that had with plenty of precious gifts to present to the clan. All sorts of nobles showed up to Lore City, giving every single inn within the city to reach an all-time high of prosperity in the history of their business. Some inns had completely filled up within a single day, forcing several mercenaries to have no choice but to camp in the city outskirts. The guests who had arrived late all had a look of helplessness when they saw the jam-packed inns. In the end, they had to take a leaf from the mercenaries' book and set up a camp in an open clearing with feelings of injustice. The amount of people coming to congratulate them caused the entire Changyang clan to be taken back, but under the careful arrangements of Changbai, he was able to expand the entire banquet out onto the surrounding streets. There were now well over 1,000 tables, and every single chef from Lore City had been hired to help. 3 days later, the Changyang clan's banquet finally started, but the ceremonial host was Changyang Ba while Jianchen himself was hidden from sight. This led many people, that were looking forward to seeing Jianchen, to feel disappointed. The ceremony for the opening of the manor had been grand, but it did not last for long. After a single day, it was over. On the second day, every single person visiting had left one after another. After the ceremony ended, the people of the Changyang clan finally began to officially move in and recruit some more guards. Although the Changyang clan was well known without anyone in the Jessen Kingdom daring to go against them, there was still plenty of work to do. Within the center of the newly constructed Changyang clan, there was a magnificent hall created for Jianchen, which had been proposed by the elders of the clan. This would be a place meant specifically for Jianchen to use, and not only was the exterior magnificent, the interior design and decorations were splendid. At this moment, Jianchen, Yu, Mingdong, Qin Ji, Dugufeng, Yunzheng, and Senioren were all gathered around a round table. At that moment, a guard came running in, a report for the fourth master. There are 2 guests who go by the names Elder Feng and Elder Yun here to see you. What? Elders Yun and Feng? Jianchen was startled. Those 2 elders were from the Huang family, but he never would have thought that the 2 of them would have taken the initiative to look for him. Could they be here for the Saint Ruler's skeleton? Jianchen couldn't help but think with a dark expression. Jianchen. Who are these 2 elders? Are they friend or foe? Mingdong asked. Jianchen hesitated before saying, acquaintances from the past. If everyone could sit here for now, I will take my leave first. With that, Jianchen immediately left the room to walk to the gates of Changyang Manor where the 2 elders, Feng and Yun, were waiting. The 2 of them displayed gentle smiles and gave off the feeling of amiable and friendly people. Seniors, what wind has brought you 2 here to my home today? This one is truly surprised. Jianchen cupped his hands together with a smile to greet the 2. Fourth master, perhaps, are we not welcome to pay a visit here? Elder Feng cupped his hands in return. Using the title fourth master instead of Jianchen was a sign of speaking to Jianchen with his proper title. Seniors are definitely welcome, please, come in. Jianchen smiled cordially and led the 2 elders into the manor. Within one of the more private rooms, the 3 men sat down before Jianchen spoke straightforwardly. Seniors, I presume you are not here for the Saint Ruler's skeleton. The two elders laughed merrily before Elder Feng replied, "The fourth master misunderstands. The two of us are here solely to pay a visit and not for the skeleton. You are after all a benefactor of our Huang family. While the saint ruler skeleton is important, our Huang family will not show ingratitude to a friend. Neither would we do such an act like that and earn animosity with the Qin Huang kingdom. We would not dare infuriate an imperial protector from that kingdom." Hearing this, Jian Chen's eyes flashed with a gleam of light. He hadn't thought that the Huang family would be able to find out that he was the imperial protector of the Qin Huang kingdom so fast. When he heard that the Huang family was not here for the saint ruler skeleton, Jian Chen let out a sigh in relief. With a brief moment of hesitation, he spoke, "If not for the saint ruler skeleton, then what matters might seniors be here for?" "Huh, fourth master. We are here because our patriarch wishes to invite you to serve as an honored guest at our Huang family." Elder Feng smiled. "You wish for me to be a guest at your Huang family? There are no social ties between your Huang family and I." Jian Chen was suspicious. "Huh, fourth master, it is our patriarch that invited you. Whatever reason there might be, the two of us do not know. The fourth master just needs to understand that our Huang family bears no ill will toward you." Elder Feng spoke. "Yes, fourth master, our Huang family has no grudge to bear against you. Not only does our patriarch wish to see you, the young miss wishes to see you again as well." Elder Yun sighed. "If not for the fact that our young miss is currently busy taking care of several matters at home, I'm afraid she would have sought you out earlier." Hearing Elder Yun mention the young miss, Jian Chen immediately thought of the yellow-robed woman of unmatched beauty as well as the very beginning part of the free-for-all portion of the gathering of the mercenaries. Unconsciously, he asked, "Is it Huang Wan?" "Correct, it is the young miss, Huang Wan. Fourth master, our young miss has been missing you quite so for these past few suns. If you come to our Huang family, please come see her as well." Elder Yun sighed with a complicated expression on his face. Jian Chen sat there in deliberation for a brief moment before nodding. "Fine then. I agree to visit your Huang family. What time would you like?" At this, the two elders immediately grew excited. "Fourth master, if you have nothing important at the moment, then we can go now." "Go now? That quickly?" Jian Chen was stunned. Elder Feng nodded. "There is indeed some panic because the young miss has come across some trouble and wishes to see if you can help her. To be brief, the sooner we go, the better." Hearing Elder Feng speak, Jian Chen had made up his mind. "Fine then, please wait for me as I bid farewell to my family." An hour later, Jian Chen had said goodbye to everyone and followed the two elders away from the Changyang manor. Along with the three, Xiao Tian, Qing Xiaofan, Chao Kachin, Dongyi Junbai, and Tian Luo all came with Jian Chen. Taking the five of them to the Huang family had been Qin Ji's idea. When Qin Ji had heard that Jian Chen was going to the Huang family, he had immediately worried for Jian Chen's safety. He had been adamant that Jian Chen bring 5 imperial advisors with him. In the end, Jian Chen had no other choice but to agree to Qin Ji's request. Taking 5 of the most trusted imperial advisors to serve as a way to show off prestige. It was only 30,000 kilometers from the Jessen kingdom to the Huang family. Jian Chen and the 5 imperial advisors only needed a single day and night to follow the 2 elders before finally arriving at their home. The Huang family was a family-based power that was located on top of a beautiful and spiritually rich mountain. From the moment Jian Chen and the others descended down, they could see plenty of buildings littering the mountains. As they drew near, 2 Heaven Saint Masters flew up from the compound and stopped right in front of the 2 elders Yun and Feng. These 2 middle-aged men were tall and sturdy with dowdy faces. Their tiger eyes gleamed brilliantly and hid a tremendous amount of power within them. Jian Chen sized up the 2 men in front of him. From just how much power they exuded, Jian Chen guessed that these 2 men were at the very least 4th cycle Heaven Saint Masters. So it's Elder Feng and Elder Yun. The two men cupped their hands toward the elder before their eyes turned to stare at Jian Shen and the 5 imperial advisors. The two elders returned the greeting before turning around to Jian Shen. "Fourth master, these two are elders of our Huang family. The two of them are brothers named Huang Lan and Huang Feng. This one is Jian Shen. I wish the two elders good health." Jian Shen put on a faint smile and cupped his hands together. The other 5 imperial advisors bowed as well with their hands cupped together, but they remained silent. Elder Feng continued to speak. "Elders Huang Lan and Huang Feng, these 5 are the honored guests from the Qin Huang Kingdom and are here by invitation from the Patriarch." Chapter 5:16, Ancestor of the Huang family. Upon hearing that Jian Shen and the others were guests from the Qin Huang Kingdom here by invitation from the Patriarch, Huang Lan and Huang Feng immediately grew solemn and began to look at Jian Shen and the others in a new light. The Qin Huang Kingdom was several times stronger than someone like the Huang family. "We welcome our guests from the Qin Huang Kingdom into our Huang family. Your arrival has truly brought light to our humble Huang family. Please, come in." Elder Huang Lan spoke cordially and guided the others in with a smile. "Elders Huang Lan and Huang Feng, please continue with whatever tasks you have. I will be bringing our guests to the Patriarch at once." Elder Feng smiled. Huang Lan and Huang Feng immediately felt some veneration for the Patriarch at the mention of him. In the Huang family, the Patriarch was the one they held in the highest esteem. "Then we won't waste the precious time of our honored guests. Elder Feng, Elder Yun, we'll leave the two of you to receive our guests then." Elder Huang Feng smiled. Ever since they had realized that Jian Shen and the others were from the Qin Huang Kingdom, their attitudes had grown extremely amiable. After bidding farewell to the two elders, Elder Feng and Yun led Jian Shen inside the compound and to a gigantic palace at the center of it. Upon arrival, a single middle-aged man walked out from the hall. "Elder Feng, Elder Yun, the Patriarch is already waiting for you all in the halls. If everyone could please enter." The two elders nodded before guiding Jian Shen and the 5 imperial advisors into the hall. It was extensively spacious in the hall, but it was filled with a tremendous amount of pressure. Despite the simple arrangement inside, Jian Shen could distinctly feel the broad amount of grandeur that disseminated from the entire hall in a different way than the imperial palace of the Qin Huang Kingdom. This hall had existed for a very long time. Although it was built with plenty of precious building materials, it was not able to withstand the passage of time. The entire hall had the scars left behind by time, giving it an ancient but desolate feeling. Jian Shen's eyes looked around at the 20 or so chairs placed on both sides of the giant hall. 10 other elders around the age of 70 could be seen seated without a word, their eyes closed. On the throne up front, a single white-robed crane-haired elder could be seen seated on it. There was a faint smile on his face that gave the impression of being warm and gentle, as if he was a benevolent old man. Just as Jian Shen and the group of 7 all entered the hall, the 10 elders opened their eyes at the same time. Their eyes were full of a bright light that seemed to stare curiously at the 6. Patriarch, the honored guests have been brought. This one here is the one invited, while the others behind him are the imperial advisors for the Qin Huang Kingdom. At the center of the palace, the elder Feng cupped his hands and spoke to the elder seated at the front. "This one is Jian Shen, I pay my respects to Patriarch Huang." Jian Shen smiled as he cupped his hands. The seated elder returned a smile to Jian Shen. "For an imperial protector of the Qin Huang Kingdom to stay as a guest in my Huang family, it is a great honor. Please, have a seat." The destruction of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had been something every single power in the vicinity had paid attention to. Therefore, Jian Shen's identity as an imperial protector for the Qin Huang Kingdom had long since been known to them. Jian Shen and the other 5 imperial advisors wasted no more time and sat in vacant chairs. Once everyone was seated, the seated patriarch spoke out loud, "Allow this humble person to introduce myself." This old man was the patriarch of the Huang family 2 generations ago, but that was well over 60 years ago. Originally I had planned to stay within the back of the mountains to cultivate and ignore the family matters, but a visit from an honored guest from the Qinhuang kingdom is far too important for this old man to not personally oversee. If I was negligent in receiving, please excuse this one for it. Afterward, Jian Shen and the patriarch exchanged several more words before quickly getting to the center of the problem. Imperial Protector, this time I have invited you here to be an honored guest in our household. Aside from a matter with the ancestor, our Huang family still has a small understanding we wish to resolve with the Imperial Protector. The patriarch spoke. Patriarch, please just call me Jian Shen. It is more pleasing to the ear to me, and for whatever business it is, the patriarch is free to say it without worry. Jian Shen replied. Then, I will call you Jian Shen from here on out. The patriarch continued, Jian Shen, I heard of what had transpired in that empty space in the gathering of the mercenaries from the mouth of Huang Wan directly. Right here, I wish to represent the Huang family as I give our thanks to you for helping safeguard our Lunar Bao. Although a ruler armament is an extremely precious treasure to any family, the bicentennial gathering of the mercenaries was also very important. It meant so much to people that the Huang family, the Shi family, and even the Qinhuang kingdom had spent countless amounts of energy in vying for the #1 spot in the tournament. For whoever was able to become the king of mercenaries would possess the right of being able to cultivate in the Holy Lands for a period of time. This was a very good way of setting the foundation to become a saint ruler in the future. Thus, every single top-notch family would do their best to help whichever outstanding talent they had. As long as they had the possibility of someone in their family becoming #1, it didn't matter how many more times they participated in the gathering of the mercenaries, they would still gain a heaven-tier battle skill to take home. Huang Wan was the most outstanding person to appear within that generation of the Huang family. Not only was she a direct descendant of the main family, she was already an Earth Saint Master at her age. For that reason, the patriarch had decided on lending her a ruler armament to use in hopes that she could demonstrate her extraordinary talent within the gathering of the mercenaries and hopefully become #1. If she happened to gain the rights to cultivate in the Holy Lands, then with her talent in cultivation, Huang Wan would in the future make the breakthrough to become a saint ruler that would make it worthwhile for her to use the Lunar Bao in the gathering of the mercenaries. However, the Huang family had made a miscalculation in regards to the empty space. They never would have imagined that the Shi family would actually take advantage of the empty space to try and take away the Lunar Bao. The Huang family had nearly lost their ruler armament because of their lack of defenses, but it was fortunately thanks to Jian Shen that the ruler armament had been able to return safely to the Huang family. Jian Shen laughed when he listened to the patriarch. This one once had a meeting of fate with Miss Huang Wan before, but I owed the young miss a favor for that. That matter with the young miss in the empty space was a chance for this one to make it up to the Miss Huang Wan, so the patriarch shouldn't weigh too much importance to this. The patriarch had no idea that Jian Shen had once met Huang Wan before and had taken his words to merely be said out of politeness. Thus, he did not spend any more time worrying about this problem. There is still a second matter. The patriarch continued to speak, but after that moment, an embarrassed look overcame his face. Apologetically, he spoke to Jian Shen, I know of the matter that happened days ago. It was nothing more than a misunderstanding on our part. We hope that you will pay it no mind. That elder in question has already been deeply punished. Jian Shen waved his hand without a care, I've long since forgotten about that matter. The patriarch needn't worry about it. If anything, it was the Qiangan kingdom that gave rise to this problem. Seeing that Jian Shen hadn't cared for the matter with the saint ruler's skeleton, the patriarch could finally rest in peace. This was after all an imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom, meaning that he could not be easily offended. Furthermore, even if he was not an imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom, Jian Shen was still a benefactor to the Huang family. To forget their favors and violate kindness was something that the Huang family didn't dare commit to. Just as the patriarch was about to continue speaking, his face suddenly slackened. Just as quickly as it changed, his face calmed down again. Jian, our ancestor wishes to meet with you. Please follow me, I will take you to the secluded part of the mountain where our ancestor is. Elder Feng, Elder Yun, please show the rest of the imperial advisors from the Qinhuang kingdom where they will be resting. Afterward, Shao Tian and the group followed the two elders while Jian followed the patriarch to the backside of the mountain. Jian flew behind the patriarch of the Huang family toward the back of the mountain. Very quickly, they came to a stop at a sword-shaped mountain peak that pierced through the clouds. This mountain was about 5,000 to 6,000 meters high and towered into the clouds above. People's eyes were unable to take in the entire view, and an endless sea of clouds blocked anyone from seeing what was above the clouds. The mountain peak itself wasn't very large at about 100 or so meters tall. However, the top part of the mountain peak seemed as if a sword from the heavens had bisected the peak in two. Thus, the mountain peak was a piece of flat ground without any uneven surfaces. At the top of the mountain peak, there was a single lonely house that was established there. Enduring the howling winds for years on end, this house seemed quite lonely and desolate to Jian. Elder ancestor, the honored guest has been brought. The patriarch bowed respectfully toward the little house. Jian, enter. An elderly voice called out from within. Jian cupped his hands before entering the house without hesitation. The patriarch hadn't any plans to stay and turned around to immediately leave the mountain peak. Jian walked straight in through the doors of the wooden house. The house was rather small, and there were no decorations within it. The very moment Jian walked in, he could see a white-robed elder inside. The elder had his white hair coiled around his head with a wooden hairpin stuck through it. Seeming quite experienced, his two legs were crossed over a jade stone while his hands were at his abdomen. There was a faint smile on his face, giving him the distinct spirit of an immortal. You're tuning in to the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.